Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are going to be reacting to the English translated by horrible AI uh, developer diaries that came out a while back. This is the one where we were talking about Titans, Tech 3 battleships, and all sorts of things. But now that it's been AI translated and AI voiceover to English, I wanted to go ahead and react to this, preferably before we got into the developer AMA later tonight, which will be starting in about 4 hours from now. Uh, I don't expect this will take me 4 hours to get through, but this is a 1 hour stream that they did. I think it was last Thursday or last Friday. I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday. Um, so I just kind of want to react to the information that I did not get because I did not know Chinese or whatever language they were speaking. It seems to be Chinese because the closed captioning is Chinese. Like I said, this is going to be sort of a really annoying AI voiceover that they've done, but it was the easiest way for them to auto translate it. Uh, but we'll see how this goes. Like I said, really horrible. There's a couple of really bad AI sections, so we're gonna do our best here. All right. Just want to make sure we are actually going. We are. There's a lot of very exciting things about this developer diaries. A lot of things to be concerned about. Um, but we have to see how they deal with it in game. And being that this has now been translated to English and has been confirmed by the Eve Echoes developers on Discord as well as through their YouTube now that this stuff is coming to game, and what was said here is true for all the servers. Um, that is why I really want to get into it. Speaking of the Discord, let's see if I can bring that up here. Da-da. So if you're wondering where I get this from, the on the Eve Echoes Discord under announcements, they posted this earlier today at 7:46 a.m. Talking about the AMA that will be happening. This will be happening at 9:30 tonight for me. We still have no access to that link yet. And then it'll also be happening at 6:30 in the morning for me. So I'm gonna try to make it to both of these AMA sessions, and we're just gonna try to keep an eye on it, make reactions to what the devs say, and see what people are asking about. It's usually an absolute mess, but here's where we're getting our videos from. So we're gonna have a part 1, part 2, and part 3 all in one video here. Hi Snoopy, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm probably gonna get hit by a copyright strike. I don't really care. I wanted to get this out. If it turns out that I can't upload this to YouTube, oh well, that's fine. But yeah, it's all here. If you're wondering where I've gotten these videos from, these are the links right here, part 1, part 2, and part 3. You can check it out yourself. Uh, let's go ahead and get into it. So, there we go. I do have Eve Online pulled up as well for future information here, but for now we'll just focus on the Eve Echoes YouTube channel where this was uploaded. And I think this won't break the game. Alright, awesome.
A secret.
Like I said, there's going to be a lot of terrible AI voiceover, but that's the only way they've done the English voiceover. I really like this intro song. I assume this is going to be the intro song to the next update, probably February 4th. I will pause in the middle of some of this. I do really love... Look at this. I really do love their battle animations. It is so beautiful. But right off the bat, what do you see here? This giant honkin' avatar. So they know. They know what we want. They absolutely know what we want. By the way, we don't know what this is. This could just be an art of a station or whatever. I can see a Naglfar here. But this station here, we don't know what that is. That's not a normal station for us. Also, Avatar. Wyvern, sitting here. So, if you think a super carrier is big, think about how big an Avatar is going to be. Hi, Azim, welcome back. By the way, if you didn't catch that, just right in the end there, right there, that is the Avatar using its Doomsday. Very cool. So we now have art and animation for a Doomsday for Eve Echoes. Yeah, they definitely did steal some of the footage from Eve Online. But it does look beautiful. I love it. How you doing today, Legendary? Good song. I really do like it. Alright, right here on the left, that is a Ragnarok. That is the Minmatar Super Titan. The Minmatar Titan, the Ragnarok, hiding there on the left side. We also have the Leviathan here in the background. That is the Kaldari Titan. Very beautiful. Very ugly. Another wyvern. A bunch of chimeras. A bunch of wyverns. Yeah, very cool. Amar, you just barely saw it there. But right in the background here, a bunch of titans. Avatars in particular. Galente doesn't really show off their Titan here. Which is a bit odd that they don't show off the Galente Titan. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet, because I think it's going to be kind of a mix. It's all good. I don't think they're killing the game. I think it'll get rid of the people who have already been upset with the way the game is going. Sorry for talking over everything, but this is what I'm gonna do. You know, it's Netties. I knew this would happen from the beginning, so I prepared myself for it. And it has been traveling that way. That is the way Netties does all of their monetization. And it was never made for the the US or the EU. It was always intended for the audience, like Chinese server or Russian server, where people are going to buy things and they don't mind. That's just how they do their games. It's a very different outlook. So I'm trying to stay positive throughout it. I haven't seen any Chinese whales dipping out. I don't know. Just because a few people leave doesn't mean the game is dying. Anyways, here is an avatar using its Doomsday. Very cool.
Unknown pilot.
Alright. We are now in the
Gathers.
dev diary side of things. It's going to have, like I said, horrible AI voiceover, but that's the way they chose to translate it. Anyway, I'm going to do my best to stay positive about most of their updates, and if there's something truly wrong, I will call it out.
Sun. Has. Risen. Dot.
Well, that's fine. We don't need the Chinese whales having 100 accounts anyway. It's not necessary. Yeah, you see that down here? I love these. These look awesome.
And.
You see the models in the background too?
No matter how, when will stories come to be? Time now. Together we are on the wind. We will of destiny, life and death are.
Holding each other, all of us for faith and being of eternal. STS reaches into our hearts. They shine in us. Departure is strong, but we are stronger. Leaning over to the edges of space, our hands reach out to touch the faces of the gods that live in us. Would you come and fly with me no matter when?
Okay. So that was just kind of like an overview.
Together we will forever. We will have destiny, life and death are holding each other. All of us will for faith and being of eternal. Come and fly with me.
No matter where, no matter how, when will stories come to be? It's now. Would you come in with me no matter where, no matter how, when will come to?
Yeah, this will be a little bit annoying here.
Ah, there should be sound now. I see it moving. Okay,
yeah, you want the background stuff here?
Everyone. Happy New Year to everyone first. Okay,
that's pretty cool.
You can hear me, right? Is this our usual plan?
The carousel is so huge back there.
Let's turn up the volume. This can be adjusted. This can be adjusted. Hey, is there sound now? The sound is delayed by half a minute. Is the sound louder now? Let's wait a moment and then I'll briefly introduce. These are all.
You can also see right behind him.
Good news. None of our.
There's a couple more models.
Planners were fired. All the planners who were here last year are still here. One of them is absent today because of something else, but wasn't fired. Don't worry, right? Not fired is still good. We'll quickly go over whether the plans we made last year were completed, then introduce the new version this year and the subsequent plans. We have a lot of activation codes, a lot of rewards, and big prizes. So, make sure you call all your friends over. There are many rewards, so don't let our brothers miss out on these rewards. How many people are there now? Where can I see the number of people? I can't see it. Let's just start. It's so laggy. Can you see the number of people?
I love the scuff for all of this.
I can see it too now. Okay, it shows the history.
You can tell that they're a small development team generally overall, because every bit of help they get is sort of like a...
Maybe it's the mouse. The mouse is broken. Okay, I'll go over there and adjust the mouse. Wait.
From what I heard from Captain Benzie and his interactions with the developer team, they are allotted resources through netties, meaning people, manpower, to accomplish a goal, and after that, that team goes and moves to another game and does that. So, if you ever wonder why things come in broken, it's kind of because we don't have an actual dedicated team to do all this. And that's the way that Captain Benzie has described the interaction with the developer team that we have, which is actually really small, and then the teams that they send in to help do like an update in art design and all of that stuff is from outside of the game.
We're going to start reading the PPT now. What if it's broken? How are we going to read the PPT? Damn,
We're gonna
if I
be
can't click, how am I going
going
to use
through a
the
PowerPoint
PPT?
here.
Is the battery dead?
There we go.
Question
PowerPoint.
mark. Maybe try switching the battery. Replace the left one with the right one.
Go outside and
I
Check
absolutely,
if the PPT on the live stream is correct.
I love this stuff.
Yes,
It's so
correct.
amazing.
But it hasn't been displayed. It hasn't been shown on this screen. What we're seeing is the one that hasn't been broadcasted. Is it because of the delay? No, it's because the main screen and something else are mixed up, I think. Like which one is the main screen? It might be mixed up, right? Or do we only have one screen? Let's try.
Dragging it. It's impossible.
Damn, how come it's wrong from the start? Why is
This
it
stuff
playing?
is
Drag
so
it to
good.
the first one first.
This is absolutely like
Why is
a
it so
mirror
laggy from the
image
beginning?
of how bad like my work
It's
meetings
not supposed
go,
to play like this,
because
right?
I'm the one that
Let me
has to
check what's being
control
played.
all of the
It's not
media
playing.
and stuff, and people
I
just
feel like
do
it's only
not
playing on
understand
the
how to
screen,
make it work.
but not on the screen
But I'm
for
the
live
only
stream.
one there that can make it
It's
work.
hard to say what to do. If there's no animation, we can just play it directly.
This level of
That's fine,
stuff
too.
is what
I
I
haven't done a
live
live stream
for.
for a long time. I'm not familiar with it anymore. This operation is not very skillful. Wait a moment. Don't shake it. Yes. This method seems okay. It was like this last time too. Yes, I think it's a WPS problem.
There
Isn't
we go.
this word? This is WPS. Okay. Hey, I feel like the right side isn't aligned properly, but it's close enough. Let's do it this way for now, okay? Let's do it.
This way for now. Should we
Get a different mouse? This mouse seems broken. Well, I'll
operate it for you from here? It's
perfect
wonder
now.
which
You
of the
can't hear me
guys
talking
there
from over there, right?
No,
Come over
this is
here,
not
or
live.
maybe we can.
This was
Ask the
live,
KFC delivery guy to come over
on
and help us
Thursday.
click the PPT.
last week. This is where all of those
Oh.
images came from,
Brothers,
with
claim your
the
gifts first.
T3
This is
battleship
for
and
me
all that.
first. Okay, let's see if this works.
So here's your first gift code,
this is
Eve
fine.
Gift
This is
2026.
fine. The keyboard. We can take the battery from the keyboard and put it in the mouse.
I
It's that
absolutely love for
rudimentary?
this amount of
Yes,
stuff.
we're very simple. It's that
This is
simple,
my kind
but
of
it's still
stuff right
okay.
now.
Our private was also made with care. Let's start talking about this. Oh my god, it's covering the PVT. Let's just do it like this for now. Okay, you can watch on your phone. You can watch on your phone. Why don't you talk? Okay, so we initially sent out a survey a few days ago, asking everyone
So
what
if you-
topics they wanted to discuss today.
So if you didn't know, we had a Eve survey which asked us a whole bunch of things, including what was our favorite update over the past year, what content we're looking forward to most, and it also asked about things we want to see happen with the game, whether it be balance updates or something we haven't seen in the game but we really want to come to the game. So 1,476 people, I believe that is, actually participated in this survey.
We also talked about it a lot in the group chat. We collected quite a few responses from both the Chinese and overseas servers, totaling over 1,000 responses. First of all, thank you very much for filling out the survey. Both the multiple choice and fill-in-the-blank questions were very helpful to us. We believe that our game has always listened to player feedback, and we thank you for providing us with your opinions.
Right. I don't know.
Let's continue to
They've
look
done
at
a
what
lot.
everyone is concerned about.
I know they haven't been very good on the free-to-play aspect, but they are still making adjustments that are generally good. I wouldn't say I care much for the pay to win stuff, but the game is a lot less laggy. They can handle large scale battles a lot better. Um, we're not seeing black screens all that often anymore. The game is a lot better now than when it first launched, or even at the beginning of last year. I do feel like the game as a whole is running better. Um, and while it's not progressing the way that a lot of people would want it to progress, um, I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad.
In the
Uh,
survey, we chose a question about what everyone most liked in 2025. The two most popular answers were two ships. One was the Marshall-class ship and ships related to the integrated command, and the other was the unrivaled-looking ship. This is the same as what you thought. It's also complicated.
So, the most favorite ship of 2025 was the Marshall and the Lancer Dreadnoughts, interestingly enough. Not the bodyguards. That is definitely something interesting to note. I would have thought that the bodyguards would have been way more popular, but it seems like it wasn't.
To explain, it's not quite the same.
Right.
I thought it would be some combat gameplay or something. Then there's another question. I actually asked two questions. One about what everyone liked the most, and one about what everyone liked the least. Do you know what the answer is for the least liked gameplay? There were a few things that weren't so popular. I remember the highest was Near Shore Expedition, and another was Frontline Warfare.
So, people's least favorite gameplay was Faction Warfare and Homefront Operations. Yeah, those went awful. That was not good.
We can see that among the people who voted, they expressed their understanding of these two game modes. And we accept this, because we were also dissatisfied with the final outcome of these two versions. Then there was another question asking what everyone wanted in 2026. Maybe it was a problem with the wording of the options, but anyway, the most players wanted to play Titans. Our preparations in this area are actually relatively weak. Then again, there are some predictions in this regard.
So yeah, the most, yeah, there's gonna be, I think, 4 codes in this. And I think it was posted on the Eve Echoes Discord. The codes, um, and you might even see them on your corp. There was like 4 codes. Some of them work, others do not. But Titans were the most anticipated content. And they're saying there's not very much development here, but they have a lot of concept art. Which means they're moving towards it. I don't know when they'll come out, but every year they're always like, oh, we're not ready for Titans, we're not ready for Titans, we're not ready for Titans. But we were not ready for super carriers when they came out. So maybe they could just release Titans whenever they want.
We can look at some concept art later, and also everyone's options regarding Spring Festival activities.
Not sure what they
everyone is
mean.
most concerned about is the duration of the Spring Festival activities, from where to where, and also what kind of fun fireworks there are, and how the fireworks are played with, along with emoticons.
So I assume that's more on the Chinese side of things. They really love their fireworks and fireworks launchers and things like that in EVE Online. That is one of the more fun aspects of EVE Online. When an update comes out, you get to use fireworks and fireworks launchers and just shoot them at people, and it makes a huge amount of fireworks. A lot of fun.
We will show you videos later. Continue.
So here's another
Again, another one. You leaked it a little
thing
early.
here.
It's okay. Here it comes again. Everyone hold on.
EVE
Grab your
Doge
clothes first.
2026.
Is the sound still low? The sound should be quite loud. I don't have the sound on here. The sound should be okay, right? Sound. You need a beautiful girl to do the commentary? No, sorry. The screen will be delayed by about 10 seconds. Yes, the screen will be delayed by 10 seconds. We'll play this for 20 seconds. Everyone take a look. Everyone has this. Oh, can we not see the next page of the PP? Open one. What is this next page? The next page is an image. Is this a video or an image? Image. Yes, these are some concept art of the Titan. Our art team saw that everyone was most interested in the Titan, so they quickly brought out the Titan images that they had been preparing for a long time. This is one of them.
So yeah, we've got the Ragnarok on the left, the Avatar, the Leviathan, and this thing. I can't remember its name. I always forget it. The Erebus, I think it is? So, concept art, this is probably going to be our Titan update release image. If we see the update where they release Titans, this is probably going to be our login screen, if I had to guess.
Let's continue. Do you know what kind of ship?
Alright. Here we have... I know he's going to explain it here in a minute. But this is the Tech 3 battleship. This is going to be the Raven. This is a very unique ship, and we'll get into that in just a minute. So I'll let him explain.
This is? What does it look like? Is this a raven? The English in the upper left corner leaks. This is a raven. This is us trying to make the third ship we mentioned. We didn't completely copy the third ship from the PC game. We are trying to take the ships with the highest usage rate in our mobile game, whether battleships or cruisers, and disassemble them into new models. The concept...
Okay, so that's actually pretty smart. Yes, this is serious. This is actually going to be coming to game. So, that's actually an interesting note, that they're looking at the most popular ships, and they're going to be making new versions based off of that. Yeah, so if you see right here, it's that Raven cockpit, I guess you want to call it, with the spikes that come out. Normally we have wings that come out in the left and right, and they're a little bit funky. Yeah, I'm so ready for it. But this is gonna be kind of like our version of the Marauders.
concept is the same as the PC game's ship design, where one ship has different forms. This is one of the forms of the Raven.
Alright. So, this is the different forms of a Tech 3 battleship. Depending on what you equip to the Tech 3 Raven, it will change its design to match the specifications that you choose for it. So you'll see here, you have the standard, this is probably going to be like your balanced poll where it's kind of got bonuses to everything. There's a little bit of wording here that I can't really see, but I see something like Direction 1, Power Unit, Jump Optimization Core. That's going to be for, like, the micro jump drive. You've also got, like, ballistic computer, something weapon enhance vent platform or something like that. Weapon something. It's just kind of like flavor text. However, you'll notice that under Weapon Group 1, you'll have these two spikes here that are evenly sized. And you'll also have these two pokey up bits. This is sort of like your offensive choice. And I've got EVE Online pulled up to kind of show this a little bit better once I'm done explaining here the differences. You've also got Weapon Group 2, which is probably going to be less weaponry, but boost something else. Like you see that jump optimization core. Maybe it'll reduce some of your weapon output, but increase your mobility a little bit. But then you get into, like, the actual hull design. Bottom left looks like they've chosen the high damage output and high mobility. This backwards facing wing kind of gives the impression that it's going to be mobility based. While also having that weapon group 1 here. And then you've got this mechanism design 2, which maybe is going to be your weapon optimization here, where you're gonna be like full DPS output. So if we can combine like weapon group 1 with mechanism 2, that's gonna be your full DPS fit. It's probably going to increase things like application DPS, raw damage. It may even increase the amount of high slots you have. And the third design down here in the bottom right has a very defensive design. It's gonna be Mechanism Design 3. I think the most popular combination is gonna be Weapon Group 1 with Mechanism Design 2. But you could also see, like, Weapon Group 2 with, Mechanism 3 to be, like, a fully defensive platform. I assume Weapon Group 2 is gonna be giving us, like, more mid slots rather than high slots. And Mechanism 3 is gonna give us more low slots to work with, while sacrificing those high slots and mid slots. So, very interesting. There's gonna be a lot of high-sec players running Weapon Group 1 with Type 2. And so, let me pull up EVE Online here, and I can show this off a little bit with the Tengu. Now, if I go to Subsystems, I can pull up each of these subsystems here, and you'll see that there's going to be a different effect that these give. For example, you're gonna have like a capacitor increase, and these are skill differences. So you'll see a roll bonus, you'll get a 20% bonus to ship power output. You gain 2 mid slots and 2 low slots. So that sounds pretty cool. Or you can go up by 3 mid slots. So kind of interesting. You actually gain a lock target here. So I'm gonna go with this one. Alright, subsystems. So we've gotten our core subsystem. We can now go ahead and look at the modules here. So we're going to gain 2 mid slots and 2 low slots and a little bit of shield, but we also get a little bit bigger in size. This one we're going to get better shield and armor a little bit, but we're going to have way better capacitor. Or on this one, we're going to gain a high slot and mid slots, get a little bit of health and everything, a little bit better capacitor, a little bit better stuff. So I kind of really like that. So I'm gonna go with the covert reconfiguration. This gives us bonuses to like cloaking devices, scanning bonuses. You can fit a covert ops cloak, which is pretty cool. Next up, we can also choose our offensive subsystem. These are going to be a little bit different, but you can see here, right now we've got no high slots. But if we go with the most offensive high slot, this will give us max amount of missile high slots. This will give us maximum amount of turret high slots. And this one will be kind of balanced. This gives a range of bonuses. There's so much here. But this is the idea that they're going for on the Tech 3 battleships. Let's just say I want to go and make a railgun battleship. Well, now we can choose our offensive option, and we can do turrets. Or, we can remove that, and we can go for missiles, if we wanted. It's really cool. You've also kind of got, like, bonuses to low slots, which would be down here, or mid slots. Depending on if you are, like, shield fit or armor fit, normally you're going to be shield, so you kind of want more of those mid slots. But you also kind of want to go for a balanced look. And all the meanwhile, it's changing the design of the ship to kind of fit what's going on here. And that's the idea that we're getting from the Tech 3 battleships. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit about what's going on with why it's changing shape.
Okay, these are its other forms. It may incorporate some design concepts from real-world aircraft, such as vertical takeoff and landing, forward swept wings, and this bullhorn shape. Yes, almost. And then, you can see that in terms of design language, although it's still a Raven, you might think that one of its forms is more similar to a destroyer or other ships, which is also possible. Oh, the lottery draw is starting. I can't get my mouse to work. How do I do this draw? I'll go over there and start a draw. We'll draw 2 Mountain Moon items. 2 Mountain Moon items. Wow, we're being very generous now, okay? Let's do the draw. Lucky draw, lucky. Moment. Two winners, equal number of prizes, certain number of votes. The international of this live in the infill. Wait a moment, let me pour can be sent out. I see it popping up. Large map, starship.
Yeah,
This
so
should be
transformable
statistically
ships or ships that you can adjust to your personal playstyle is gonna make people a lot of content and very, very happy. And it's very likely that those things could be released in a box first. I'm expecting them, when they're first released, to probably cost about 15 billion for the whole, and then each of the upgrades is probably going to be 500 to like a billion to get the different modules.
ported later. Let's continue to the next page. Okay.
Dot. This is
A design draft of the instability gate. This is our design concept. The direction of its connection is not fixed. It's possible that after I occupy it, I can specify that it faces another star system within a certain time period.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Let's say you get into a designated location, you hold that location. This Stargate is the reason why you want it. This Stargate could theoretically have a different location that it can jump to at different points of the day. So, say you want at like 2 o'clock, you want to be able to access this jump gate and go to the Great Wildlands. Well, you can do that. And maybe at like 3 o'clock, it can face Innsmother. And you can jump to Innsmother. It would make for a very important asset to control. If you can control where it's going to point.
This can change the topology of the star map. Okay, continue. Is
this also.
probably the
Moderator, you're blocking it. I
can't see it very well.
Alright, so now we've got the new Sisters of Eve ship. The front of it looks like a Stratios, but the back half reminds me of a carrier. So I don't know what this is gonna be. Let's hear.
This is the Sisterhood's raid. Raid. Raid.
Okay, all we get is Sisters of Eve raid. Maybe it's a Sisters of Eve assault carrier? Because I did see it popped up assault instead of raid. under the closed captioning. So maybe it's some sort of like assault cruiser or maybe an assault carrier. Because it really does have a lot of design aspects of the Stratios. I wonder if I can bring the Stratios up and see if we can compare it a little bit. Okay. So, there's the Stratios. And there's our new carrier. I think that's a carrier. I really don't think that's a cruiser. If it's an assault cruiser, fine. Or maybe it's a battle cruiser. But there are a lot of design aspects that are taken from this ship. I don't know. What do you guys feel about it?
So quickly.
Okay, there's your
Time for
next
prizes again. This is about speed.
Thing.
1,000 protocol coins, 1,000 cooperation protocols, 10,000 cooperation protocols, but there are only 1,000 in total. 1,000 codes. Yes. Dot. That's what you get first. These rewards are a bit. Wow, another big one. Okay, we've distributed these very unevenly. Yes. Did you accidentally put too many in the front?
The previous one isn't finished yet, and another one comes. I wonder if they can't come consecutively. There's still a countdown of
3 minutes.
Oh, there's a countdown timer. Wait, it's still drawing, still distributing. It shouldn't have been drawn yet. Wait until the previous one is finished.
Let's just
Chat for a bit. Let's
Chat for a bit. Let's just
chat casually for now. Let's
chat until the rewards are given out.
I wonder
saw some
which one
trolls
has the
saying they
female
wanted
voice.
that
That's
skill
funny.
reset. Today, the skill reset will be given to the whole server. Why are you talking about drawing? Everyone on the server will get it. Didn't the announcement say so? Look at that. What's that skill called again? Shattered iron. Look how much shattered iron there is. They'll definitely give out more than the iron, right? The announcement said they're giving it away, so they'll definitely give it away. Take this time to greet Big Dog Head. So many people want to chat with him. I'll automatically ignore those who are just trolling and complaining. Say something genuinely useful, useful questions, useful ideas
Deb's
and
getting angry with
suggestions.
us.
Don't just spam the screen, it's meaningless. Someone said they want a wormhole. Is our international servers mount the same as that mount? It
should be the same. It
can be the same. Is the configuration the same now?
I don't know. That puzzle game was finished tonight. It
should be the same. It is the same.
Doghead is operating the PPT over there. Don't let our crappy mouse break down.
Right, so that's just them saying that our server and the Chinese server are finally the same across the board. I know they have some things that we don't have, but they have gone through and removed Ember C or whatever introduction thing. It's gone now for the Chinese side of things, so now our servers should be very similar to each other.
Hey, let me try chain. No keyboard needed. Hey, 4 or 7. Number 5 then. Never right, directly. There's none there. A Bluetooth mouse. We definitely need to find a Bluetooth one, and then you still have to pair it here. No need to pair it. It's 2.2 809 the choke talking about? Is it several players teaming up, for example, opening a bubble shield, opening a room shield, 5 people constantly opening room shields and blocking the choke point? This is a relatively normal gameplay style. If it's in a forest area or a battle where everyone is collectively charging,
Null sec.
then no one dares to go over here, and no one dares to come over there. You could say the conditions are slightly
Stricter. Dot.
Yeah, they're just saying that they're not going to do anything about gate camps.
Is that okay?
Oh,
And they
okay,
shouldn't.
You can go. Back to your position now. Okay, no, I can operate now, right? Yes, you can operate now.
I think gate camps are fine as
I'm
is.
finally back to meet everyone and kick back
Otherwise,
like others.
although
Oh, my nose is running.
Seawiz might be a
Let's
bit
do
too powerful
another
right
lucky
now.
Draw. Does this lucky draw have to be set the time ourselves? Specifically B. Can reevaluate this. Main thing is to give away stuff today, and then also give you guys a chance to complain about these things, right? One also a draw. Wow, this one still this been finished by us.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Is it still this one? Still this one? This is another
Look how
angle,
good
another
that looks.
perspective, right? Okay, new release. So it's a new test. Players are asking if they can enter the high-level area. This hasn't been decided yet. And the things listed here are the contents that players mentioned most frequently.
Right, so this is a mining destroyer. This was released in EVE Online not that long ago, so the fact that they're bringing up the new mining destroyers here in an image suggests that it may be part of an update in the near future. They don't just throw a random ship in an image unless they intend to utilize it at some point.
In the survey that they didn't like as much, and in the fill-in-the-blank questions, what they are most concerned about, and what currently overlaps with our focus, is the game's balance issues. And the economic system issues many people are worried about. I'll just grab a pen and paper. Don't worry about the game's balance. Actually, most of the feedback comes from players who have issues with balance, or maybe my understanding is wrong. Maybe some of it is genuinely unbalanced, or unbalanced at that particular time.
So, that's kind of a unique point of view by the developers. Genuinely, they think that the game is balanced according to statistics. I don't know how else to put that, other than the information that they get for game balance is only statistical data. That can be very good, but also very bad for the game. And that's why we have a lot of complaints on balance. Because people want to feel like they have a chance, and the data that's coming out, you're only getting statistical data that shows ship versus ship. Yeah, you're getting a 50% chance to win, but what's actually happening in game is low end players are getting killed, and then high end players are killing those people, or they're killing those people killing the low end players. So in the end, statistically, everything is balanced. But in reality, the game balance is very heavily skewed toward high skilled players. And they don't really see that data all that much.
And then there's another part that might be related to players who only play a certain system and don't play all the ships, so this also carries a certain bias towards weapon preferences. We've actually made quite a lot of balance adjustments this year, and over the past year. The developer
Which, by the way, they nerfed missiles in the first year of the game. We are still in a position where missiles are good, but not great compared to many of the other weapon systems, especially at like a capital level. Capital missiles are just struggling to do a lot, unless they're in very, very, very specific scenarios. And we're gonna get another missile buff on February 4th.
Are probably adjusting based on player feedback and what they see in the feedback, and then seeing if there's a problem, and then adjusting again, right? That's probably the process. If biased players don't pay attention to our announcements, they won't see them. But if players like to read them, they'll find that we've made a lot of adjustments this year, basically every month.
And yeah, they have made a lot of skill adjustments. They've made it easier to get into a ship as a newer player, but they've kept that high-end gameplay from having a lot of skills. And that's what they've been balancing over the last year or so. They've been doing a lot of that.
And sometimes there are dozens or even hundreds of adjustments at once. The thing is, there are many different ships in the game. Our game currently has over 400 ships. I haven't checked the exact number, but it's over 400. For example, in our recent update, we retired some older Imperial logistics frigates and cruisers.
Yeah, 400 ships in our game. And yet players only play like 30, 100 of those regularly. There are so few players playing some of these like odd ships that they're actually just retiring those ones that are low use from the tech tree. You can still build them, but they won't get the insurance premiums. So why fly them anyway at that point?
Retiring a ship simply means that its design is difficult to salvage within the current framework, and salvaging it would actually add a significant burden to all new players, including existing players. Then there are Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, Type 4, Type 5, attack types, gravity types, and a whole bunch of others. We actually mentioned this during last year's livestream, and we're spending a bit more time on it this year, because you're wearing a mask. No problem, it's fine. I have a cold, I have to wear a mask, otherwise I'll spread it to you all. It's okay. Where were we? We were talking about the many ship types. Last year, we mentioned in the livestream that we would streamline and optimize some types, and we're actually doing that this year. For those retired Imperial ships, if our gameplay evolves in a way that suits their performance, we might bring them back, upgrading them again to a model that is more, how to say it, more adapted to the current and latest battlefield environment. Then it's not like the old days when you had those small, low-tier ships with 3000 HP, where one shot wasn't enough, and even disassembling one ship and using its parts for one shot wasn't enough. That's obviously outdated. We also hope that in the future, when we present this to new players, if they like playing support ships, can we let players use ships like the Sunrise and the Moon, allowing them to switch?
That would be the John Yu, the Con Yu, the Wong Yu. They all just became Logi ships on top of their combat capacity.
Between many different weapons at any time. For example, their veteran player friend tells them that missiles are fun, so they use missiles. Then they say lasers are fun, so they use lasers. Whether it's a support ship, an electronic warfare ship, or a laser ship, at least in the early stages, we hope to satisfy the player's desire to quickly switch to the ship they like to play, instead of saying, if you want to play lasers, you have to build a new ship, and then, you have to build another new ship. These things are what we hope to appropriately adjust in.
That's interesting to note. So they want to do away with, like, the best of the best ship option. which is probably why we've seen more ships with multiple weapon type options. Things like the Marshal having access to every weapon type, other than drones. Y'all get screwed on that one, but you have the Dominic's Navy issue, so don't complain. Interesting that they want to go away from what is the best ship to fly as a laser pilot. They want to try to make it more diverse.
In terms of the length and complexity of the player's early game progression. Of course, what about the later stages? For example, let's say a player reaches the maximum level. Let's assume that we've created some fun gameplay for small ships in the future, or perhaps for capital ships. Could there be support frigates? Of course, there could be. We could create 10 different types of support frigates if needed. That's roughly the idea. This is regarding ships. Then there's the economy, which is a major challenge. Players should have seen in the announcement that we've changed the industrial aspects at least 4 times in a year, like the blueprint for the Sunrise, the cost of the blueprint, and the insurance points. We frequently adjust the insurance and market recycling aspects.
How... I don't know if I've really noticed that big of a difference from the insurance adjustments and the industry adjustments. I feel like it's just as hard to get a ship built as it's always been. It's just as hard to swap to a new ship as it's always been. It's just as expensive to fly a ship as it's always been. And in some cases, it's only gotten more expensive to fly some of these ships.
How do we adjust them? We adjust them based on game manufacturing data, market transaction data, and data on actual combat assistance in KM, kill mail, including data on those who assisted in kills, those who got kills, and those who were killed. This includes data from fighting in the Sleeping Realm, data from fighting large-scale battles, small fleet anomalies, and various other data. We look at how the ship actually performs and whether it matches its price. For example,
So, they're looking at, like, kill mails for balancing their game. Which is where that whole low-end player gets killed by a mid-end player, but that mid-end player ends up being killed by the same ship that he just killed, but a high-end player is killing him. I don't know. I don't disagree with the way they're getting their data, because it is a way to balance the game, but they also need to take a look at how the game feels for a new player. Because as a new player, as an alpha player, the game is hard. Like, and they're only making it more difficult for alpha players and new players in general. Especially from taking away the ISK income from Concord Pass. Now it's just an absolute grind. It is not fun.
if you have a very weak ship costing 2 billion, and it performs exceptionally well in KM, that's definitely not reasonable. So you're saying a $30 billion ship comes out, a chosen one, but you're saying a $30 billion small ship is constantly getting destroyed by two $2 billion ships. That doesn't seem very reasonable. So we combine data from various gameplay aspects in the actual game. This serves as both a verification and a direction for our proactive balance adjustments. Furthermore, we definitely value player feedback, including the fact that the QQ channel isn't very user-friendly.
I don't really like that explanation. Because, reasonably, two 2 billion-ish ships, if they're well fitted and well played by a player, should be able to kill a poorly fit 30 billion-ish ship. It is literally the skill of the players and the way they have their fit set up. Um, and how well they play. They should not be looking at the cost of a ship versus what it kills, other than very extreme instances where it's doing it regularly. But then you need to start looking at statistics like how was the player that was killed fit versus how was the killer fit. How much skill points do each players have? What activity was going on in the background while that was happening? Were they in a capital ship quarry? Or were they in something easier, like a standard anomaly? Were they in a hidden rift? All of these things contribute to these players killing another ship or not killing that ship. And depending on what gameplay that was going on at the time when they got attacked, it could very well determine that that ship dying being 30 billion ISK because it was fit to run content, not to go against players. So I really don't like their explanation here on their data points.
Right now. It's not very easy to use, and I've added a lot of players recently. I probably receive 99 plus messages every day now. I've become a full-time chat person. Then, based on player suggestions, we use AI. Yes, we've integrated AI here to analyze which issues are frequently reported by players. We first group these feedbacks, and then there's a number indicating how many people.
So if you ever feel like your suggestion is being ignored, that's because their AI system that they're using right now to determine what issues come up the most is pretty much ignoring your suggestion. Not because you have a genuine suggestion and they don't want to do anything about it, but because the AI system has flagged you as a low priority compared to the hundreds of balance this ship requests. Game broken. Game crash.
Mentioned this point, ranking them accordingly. Then, based on our actual game data and our own gameplay experience, we determine if it's truly a problem. Of course, everyone knows these suggestions. Players who use torpedoes say torpedoes are too weak. When will they be buffed? Then those who play against them in PvP, or those who have fought against them, or those who encountered them in battle, say they are too weak. When will they be buffed? So, this suggestion isn't something we'll necessarily implement just because a player makes it. For each player, and I'm talking about common cases, not all cases players tend to use ships they're familiar with, and they only provide suggestions related to those ships. This creates a conflict. Some say torpedoes are strong, others say they're weak. Some say carriers are strong, others say they're weak. Therefore, we need to design each ship to fit its battlefield role and initial positioning as much as possible, considering each different battlefield. Of course, there will be situations where torpedoes are strong, and other situations where carrier bombing is significantly stronger. I can't cough, it hurts. I see he's wearing a mask. Didn't you see him? He has a cold. Yes, he's sick. I have a cold too. Let me interject briefly. I saw that 2 people have already mentioned this. Regarding redeeming Apple devices, you need to follow the official account and redeem the activation code there. Another person also mentioned the overseas redemption code, which we've already discussed, ET map. We received a lot of feedback when the new star map went live, saying it was well made, responsive, and comfortable to use. However, through this questionnaire, we found that some people actually prefer the old star map because it has some familiar functions. For example, they prefer it when there are fewer people using it. We actually discussed this yesterday and
Yeah, the AI dub is really, really scuffed. But that's the way they decided to translate it, so that's just how it is. Um, how do you guys feel about the new star map? I think it still has a long way to go. It's very nice to look at. It's fairly easy to use. It's got a lot of functionality. But what it lost is that contrast between systems. You can tell what systems are high sec, low sec, and null sec, but what you can't tell is when you click on uh, like a star group, it doesn't highlight it very well. What they should do with that is they should darken the background significantly and highlight the one that you're looking at, kind of like the old star map used to do. That is my biggest gripe with the current star map, the new one. If they can fix that, I think it's a very fantastic map.
decided that the two-star maps will coexist in the future, but maybe not with two separate entrances like before. We will add a switch in the settings interface so you can switch between the two-star maps.
Hi, General.
There
Welcome.
will be only one star map in trance. You switch which star map you open in the settings. Okay, shall we continue, or do you have anything else to discuss? Let me check. Let's continue with the PPT.
I will say, though, I don't think the new star map is faster to load. I have the same trouble and lag loading the new star map compared to the old star map. So I don't think they fixed that.
I think we can move to the next slide. Yes, we didn't sell out everything later. We need to start. Last year's annual review. In our last live stream, we promised a lot of things, but we only completed a part of them. Maybe not even 50%? Probably around that. We didn't count exactly the things we promised to do in the last live stream. We completed about 50%, and we definitely didn't finish everything.
So that there is them kind of admitting defeat there. They made a lot of promises to us with the last time we saw a dev diaries like this, just before the AMA last year, in January of last year. And they only did about half of that. It's clear to me that they're not happy about that. But what they have done has been genuinely okay. There's nothing that I've seen overall that has like really irritated me. Yes, they've gone heavier into monetization of the game. But that's not something I'm angry about. Because the more monetization that they do have, though I disagree on the pricing of everything, the more monetization that they do have, the more they can actually accomplish. So, overall, I'll say they did fine for what they've done last year. They've introduced a lot of cool content. The Sancha content is probably the best content they have ever put out. Although they've since nerfed it, I still have fun with it.
We'll go over what we've done and what we haven't finished later. But before that, let's have a lucky draw.
Celebratory occasion.
Lucky. So let's go. The first half month in the nearshore steel area. The default server is the newest server in the nearshore area. But now, the default selection is actually the new server. A new player specifically chooses to play on the nearshore server. The default option will be the new server. Future. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn it on. Issue into several parts. Yesterday, when chatting with everyone in the WeChat group, we also talked about this. One way to attract new players is to advertise more, but advertising costs money. Currently, we are still hoping to spread the word more within our own circle. If we can make the early stages of the game more fun, and make it so that your friends can also understand and enjoy the game, and play it long term, that's what we hope to see most. This is the path we most hope to take.
That's what they hope to do, but what they've been doing is making Alpha an absolutely unbearable existence. We just went through a full year of going from Alpha to Omega, utilizing every aspect of the game that we could most benefit from. I've even shown off things that I would buy at different stages of the game with real money. And that Tech 1 to Tech 7 is absolutely unbearable. It's fairly quick, but it isn't fun. Especially not for somebody returning from a high-end level of gameplay. But even new players would look at it and go, I've seen a lot of new players going through the beginning of the game just struggling all the time. They need to do something about it. One of the ways they've tried to combat that is by having the Tech 10 jump, and that is probably the best purchase you could ever make in Eve Echoes, but once again, that is a paid item. Not everybody is going to have access to that, or want to have access to that. So they need to do something for alpha players to make it more enjoyable. Because it's bad. It is just horrible.
The second path is that older players have a need for new players. It's not that older players think their stats are bad, their levels are insufficient, or that they are worried that they are spies from other alliances. If older players have a higher need for new players, it will also help new players stay. Regarding the question about what to pair with the core of the Dreadnought, the Dreadnought pairing should be different ship models in the future. I remember we talked about this in the live stream last year. One of the difficulties in pairing is that the new core and the old ship models are different, or the new ship, even though it inherits the name of an old ship, its model has changed. So I can't inherit the old characteristics. We've actually finished the plan for this, and it's quite simple. Basically, it's compatible, and in the very near future, everything will be fully compatible. The core components with the same name or similar models can all be tested for compatibility. We've started working on this plan. Okay, the plan is finalized. What are we drawing here? Can't. You see the small text above? I can see it, but I feel like they're staring at us. They packaged it for us, right?
Your plan's stable? Your big picture plan is stable, isn't it? I'll
Go check the document in our work group. I'll do it. Okay, let's just finish reading it. That works too. We can just discuss it. Actually, there isn't. Actually, there are still some. The compatibility issues are a bit rough, a bit simplified. Yes, these three are the main directions, right? The first is product improvement. As I just said, we basically do this in every project and every version, making small and large improvements. Some major versions involve many changes, while smaller ones might only address one or two of the most obvious problems. You can usually find summaries in the announcements. In the announcement document, the number of entries for performance adjustments is probably the most numerous in terms of categories. Find the 2025 document. Let's keep looking down, and then we'll use that. This one again to claim the prize.
Alright, here's your next thing to put in. NetEase Eve Doge 2026. And I believe there's two more for the AMA.
Okay. Take a screenshot. Wow, what kind of writing is this? The font is so small. There's a folding manual box. Yes, this grid was done, right? These are the things we did. We promised several things back then, and we delivered the folding box, right? The discounted crate event is held annually, right? It's an annual event, and the next one will probably be during the maintenance in February. Although the spring festival event.
Alright, so we're gonna get a 90% off chip box like we had last year. They're gonna plan to do this at least once a year. But what that is the Universal Treasure Box, pretty much. But it's going to be like 10 boxes or so for 90% off of the cost. So last time this came around, we got to choose 10 boxes at 10 AUR each. It was a really, really good deal. So a lot of us used that to get a little bit further ahead in our choices of shipbox. And they are planning to bring that back in February. Probably on the update on the 4th.
Has started. It's divided into 3 phases, each lasting 2 weeks. The current event actually has a manual, but that manual isn't the same as the one we discussed earlier. Then, in the next version, which should be released on February 4th, the version released on February 4th and 5th will have a discounted crate event. At that time,
there we go. We just confirmed that on the 4th and the 5th, that is when the discounted crate event will happen, which is also when the ship boxes will return. So if you have some money, put it away, wait for this event, and you can get yourself some really high-end ships, capital ships, Marshall. So we're talking about Lancer Dreadnoughts, Bodyguards, the Navy carriers, Shanghai, Lucent Moon, Cyan, during this February 4th event.
we talked about the insurance mechanism reform, which was about lowering the value of low-value insurance and increasing the value of high-value insurance. This was already completed, right? Yes, it was adjusted. Yes, I saw that they verified this item at the time. Yes, and then they opened a new server, OpenGenA. Although everyone was dissatisfied, but we promised these things would be launched, and they were indeed completed. Okay, then, what system functions did we do? This core air switching, and building integration, and subordinate buildings. All 3 were done. They were all done, right? Question mark. All. These pages should have been done, and we also did the system. Then the strengthening of assault carriers, and the strengthening of the missile system, and a new assault carrier. We did that at the time. And the bottom right corner is going to be criticized, saying that we're releasing a higher level combination than Janae. We'll talk about this later. Yes, we'll systematically introduce this system later.
So they're teasing a little bit there on some sort of new nano core system. Yeah, we're gonna have an updated event on February 4th. So like a week from now. From what little bits and pieces that I can find on the Eve Echoes Discord, it's some sort of nanocore combination thing. But that's all I know. There's been speculation on if it's going to allow you to take 2 separate nanocores and equip them and be able to swap between them as necessary. I don't know if that's going to be the case. We'll have to wait and see what they do, but that seems to be the common thought behind this. Yeah, Star Melody and Star Break would be a perfect combination. Or Star Break and Sleeper Core would be absolutely broken.
And this part was done, this thing. That is, the script. Yes, the whole script. Actually, we spent a lot of time on scripts last year, in 2025. Okay, speaking of scripts, the verification code was actually quite useful. But now this AI, damn it, is so much stronger than before. Okay, let me take a look. Let me take a look at the server. Okay. Dot. Are you saying that the WeChat redemption in-game redemption
Internet.
wrong? Where did they type it? Is server one?
If it still doesn't work, we'll give out rewards to everyone on the server, and I'll just let it go. Is it that this code doesn't work, or are all the previous codes not working? Are all the codes not working, or is it just this one? The last one, regarding this one.
He said it's incorrect. Maybe there's a typo. We'll check what's going on later, and in the worst case scenario, we'll compensate everyone via email. Okay, you can just send the code again in the settings, right? It might also be unlimited redemption. Okay, then let's look at the ongoing things and the script optimization. Compared to last year, we should be investing more in script optimization this year. The guy who handles the scripts for us, I see he's much more active than before. Is there anything special to mention about this? Regarding balance adjustments, we strengthened the balancing of the cannons, right? Yes, we did both of those, but there's still something missing with the enhanced cannons. The enhanced
Yeah, they're talking about disintegrators when they're talking about enhanced cannons.
cannon implants, we've only done half of them, right? We're doing them this year? Yes, we're doing the enhanced cannon implants this year. There will definitely be
Okay, so Jinner, good news. You're gonna get your disintegrator implant this year. I have no idea when that'll come, but they've said it'll come this year. So, be prepared. It's probably gonna be so broken.
enhanced cannon implants this year. No, I'll work overtime to get you an enhanced cannon implant. Then, regarding the equipment system, this is also in our plan. We said we were going to make more official equipment, but we only made a small part, right? We only put a little bit into the event. Our official equipment isn't a complete system, is it? The release of our official equipment
By official equipment, they mean the officer modules.
is based on active events. And regarding official equipment, I'll just mention this here. We originally planned to release official equipment through events, maybe some events like fighting some boss monsters or something. We would release them through events like that, because in the game, it's difficult to release such a powerful piece of equipment. If the quantity is very large, let's assume the quantity is very large. Then, the value of all the high-level equipment that players currently have, such as PA and Type A and Type B equipment, will be greatly reduced. And it will impact the existing system, because too much official equipment is meaningless. It's just a blue item with a red background. So, in the future,
It's just a blue item with a red background. My ass, it's like 50% better than X-Type. It's so good, officer equipment. I really want like a full officer fit marshal or something.
including the future, we will treat officials as a kind of activity-based product. We won't make it so that everyone has an official title for life. That would definitely deviate from our original intention. We also hope that the various male outfits and PA equipment in the players' hands will be more valuable. We also frequently look at the data of these items in players' hands. We found that a considerable portion of high-level equipment is not used very often, because one reason is that it's expensive, and the second reason is that, as we just said, we hope that the price of the item is closer to its actual use value. We also found that some high-level equipment has a price higher than its actual use value. Therefore, this year, we will definitely make the high-level male outfits 12, 13, and 14 that I just mentioned more accessible to players.
I don't know how they're gonna make officer modules more accessible to players, other than just releasing more paid events. That's all I get out of that. That's what they've done in the past with officer equipment. So if they're planning to do more events like we had with the, I think it was the Cat Nano Core, or was it this most recent one? No, it was the Sansha update where we had a bunch of officer modules dropped from paid players. So that's all I can think that's gonna happen.
We hope that players can use these outfits more, and by improving these outfits, we will basically give them away for free. It's not about requiring players to spend a lot of money to enhance or refine them to reach a higher level. No, because as I said just now, we have found that its use value is currently lower than its trading price, so we will definitely adopt the method of giving it away for free. We will first ensure that its use value and actual trading price are basically consistent before we further adjust it in the back end. Can we turn up the sound a little more? Yes, adjust the back end.
Okay, so
Okay, I'll take.
what they're saying there is they do want to make officer modules more accessible, but not necessary or less expensive and accessible. I don't know, but pretty much they want a gameplay mechanic where those modules will drop, um, without making it so they're just like flooding the market, kind of like C types are right now.
The picture, you jump. We didn't capture it, but there's a record in the back end anyway. Taking a picture is just more convenient. Why? Laggy. Louder. Do you think the sound is louder and clearer? Yes, I think it's okay.
In this equipment system, there's also the matter
It's on the far right, less than control 100 greater than.
regarding this equipment system, there's also the matter of what we said about doing industrial and logistical gold cores back then. Did we only end up making mining gold cores? We didn't even make
Mining gold cores. We made mining gold cores, and then for logistics, we only made the gold core for the Radiant Moon, a half-baked logistics system for the Radiant Moon.
They just called them the Lucent Moons, nanocore, the gold nanocore for Force Auxiliary Lucent Moon, half baked. So they know. They just half-assed it. They just pushed something out. Oh, poor Jenner. Developers hate Lucent Moon.
Combat logistics. Yes, we only made one. Someone just mentioned that the Radiant Moon conflicts somewhat with the status of the Reverent and Unrivaled. So let's strengthen the characteristics of the Reverent and Unrivaled. Actually, it's fine. It doesn't really conflict. The Radiant Moon is just an external supplement. If you're talking about professional defensive production and use, then the Reverent and Unrivaled is definitely much stronger.
I think they're kind of mentioning the Ascendant and the Bodyguards there.
But in the area where the Radiant Moon excels, the all-purpose aspect, the Reverent and Unrivaled is definitely weaker. And this one on the far right is the return of the gotcha boxes and keys that we promised this time. Have we done any gotcha box reruns this year? We've done 2 reruns. 2 reruns, right? Yes.
We've done them, but the number of times is relatively few. We've released very few gotcha boxes throughout the year. Do we?
Have any plans for more reruns in the future?
Okay, they say they've released very few ship boxes over the last year, and I would kind of agree with that. They did not release a ship box for the Ascendant, but we did have Navy carriers, bodyguards, Marshal, and I think at one point we even had, like, the Navy battleships again? I remember also seeing we had, like, one event with all of the ship boxes available, so, like, 5 or 6 times during the year, that's once every couple of months. I don't know.
In the future, we will basically keep the number of gotcha boxes at a relatively low level, but the normal goods sold in the shop and those event items will still be available. Okay, let me clarify something here. The hot items in the agreement shop, like Blacklight, these are very typical agreement cores.
Okay, so they're referring here to the Concord Pass Nanocore supply They're talking particularly about the research cores and the thermomagnetic storm core being the most popular choice. Um, we'll see what they have to say about this.
It's not that we're removing them from the normal nano core system and making them only available for red coins. That's not the case. That box is for buying with leftover keys, meaning we're giving a guaranteed item to those who haven't reached 60 pulls. The normal function of buying with red coins will also be removed. In the future, we will have a bunch of selectable options like before. Things like Hotshot, Blacklight, Transcendence, Bamboo, these agreement cores, they are agreement core. Things like Hotshot.
Alright, so thermomagnetic storm core. I don't even know what they're calling Blacklight, Transcendence, and Toxin. Not really sure which ones those come out to, but I assume that would be the Clear Sky. What else was there? It was like Clear Sky, something, Dark Halo, thank you. And there was one more in there. It's like the Traveler Core or something like that. It's the one that almost nobody actually uses. It's not the Research Core. But they're just saying here that they're not taking those away. They're just kind of changing how the system works.
Blacklight, Transcendence, Bamboo, these agreement cores, they are agreement cores. We will use a self-selected agreement coin purchase method, and we will regularly rotate them in the shop. We can't put everything in because there are so many items in the shop. It's overwhelming to look at. Dozens of items. What was the reason for this? It's purely because less than control 100 greater than.
Alright, so let's move on to part
It's
2.
too much. Every time I scroll, the expensive item, I even check the channels myself. Let's move on to the next one. Let me check the next one. I need to click on it.
At that time, but we didn't fully We were discussing the flower petals at that time, but we didn't fully commit to it. We mentioned some parts, saying it's possible, but not 100% guaranteed. We're not saying we won't do it.
Later either.
Yes, we didn't fully say we wouldn't. There are some things that we should do this year. Your AI's performance isn't very good. The flagship Tier 2 modifications are all done and have been online for a long time. It's still in the micro update section.
Delete it. It must be my problem. Not a problem with the game itself, but rather that we didn't check the box properly. Let's talk about it. Titan.
So, they're talking about the Tier 2 capital rigs having been in the game for a really long time, and they just didn't turn them on until more recently. That's hilarious. They just forgot to do it until more recently.
Titans are hard to talk about. Titans. Titans mainly don't have much to talk about. It's still the same as last year. Titans are too expensive now. Now, if a large fleet gets destroyed, everyone suffers more losses than gains. And if we release Titans now, we haven't solved this problem yet. Titans are also something we're not very good at handling. How should such high-value ships like Titans be used? How much should they cost to build? And how much should the losses be after they are destroyed? This is all difficult to determine now. Are there any plans for the burner missions, the high difficulty PvE? Yes, there are high difficulty PvE missions, and the burner plan is part of the main storyline for this year's high difficulty PvE.
Alright, so they're saying they're going to focus on PvE, making high difficulty content like burner missions, if you know what a burner mission is. EVE Online has a specific system where, as a level 4 or level 5 mission runner or agent, every once in a while you will come across a mission called a burner mission. What this is a frigate only content where you take your frigate, you go and try to kill the NPC frigate and that frigate is highly dangerous. So you have to use the most of your capability to actually be able to kill that thing. It's highly valuable, it is small ship content, and it's fun.
Didn't do it last year, so we'll continue this year, right?
Yes, that's right.
Last year there were some, but not pure PvE. This year there will be some purely high difficulty PvE, not the kind where multiple people compete, or PvE in low sec 0.0 space.
Alright, so they want this to be a single person content with this burner mission. Which is very different from Sansha content, where they wanted us to be in a fleet together competing for that content. Which got a lot of negative backlash for a lot of reasons, mostly people stealing loot, and just not having enough content to actually do when you have a large fleet. Yeah, definitely. That might be something you'd have to look at.
This year, the plan will definitely include a PvE that won't be affected by other players, but the difficulty will definitely be high enough, and the rewards will be good. Our rewards, such as the new PCPE rewards, mainly consist of strange equipment or equipment with special functions, or
Okay, so they're talking here about what I can only compare to mutated equipment. These are standard modules that have adjusted buffs and nerfs that are sort of randomly generated. In EVE Online, the way you would do this is you would run Abyssal content, you would get a Abyssal Mutaplasmid, and you could take that Mutaplasmid, apply it to a standard module, for example, like an ice mining laser, and what it would do is it would randomly roll the stats on that module, where you could maybe end up with a higher power grid consumption module, but it might reduce the activation time or increase the mining amount on that module. And it's really, really cool. It is very high-end equipment and very RNG dependent, but it's very valuable if you can do it.
other rewards, and we won't give you 500 million RK. That's impossible. Our new rewards are very stingy, especially the risk rewards, which are very balanced, midpoint, tactical midpoint, and other strange and flashy equipment.
Last year, who said they wanted to do a sisterhood event? Definitely not.
You agreed, but it wasn't true. Let me.
Give you an example. No, 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 no. Later we did a foolish event. It counts, I guess. It.
Barely has anything to do with it.
The.
Naming system has been criticized for a year already, not the ship naming. For the past year, I've been in a state where the programmers gave us the impression that as long as there were no problems with this version, it could be released.
But every version has some issues. The programmers said a couple of days ago that because the code has been written for a year, the old finished code can't be integrated. So, we will, but we know that the demand is still there, and this year there will still be a line of work focused on improving the system, and ship naming is ranked quite high on this line. It's just
Alright, so ship naming is high in their priorities at this point because so many people want it, but they just can't seem to get it to work right. Because every version of the game has a new bug that they have to fix, and the old code that they're using won't handle it. So they're trying to sort of throw a patch on it to get it to work.
that the overall priority of this line itself might not be high enough. This year we will reserve a separate channel to do it. Before, we would finish it, test it, and then release it. Now we have to rework it. But it should be okay now. There's a lot of old code that can be referenced. And then there's the black card one-click switch. What the hell? There's a yellow one that looks very powerful. Let's see. Whose yellow one is this? Someone sent money. Limiting yourself from using the ultimate ability, not dismantling the anti-interference device to enter the opponent's
Message with 1,000 batteries is really eye-catching. Damn. We don't encourage you to spend money and send
this money. Yes, we
stream with this account today. We had to specially apply for permission. That's it. Under the character invasion battles. This is also an ancestral. Also saw something quite important. The rules for looting items in the PvE invasion battles. This is also an ancestral rule, passed down for so many years, but it's also been criticized. For example, I worked so hard to defeat the boss, and then a thief stole the dropped items. This happened to me. We've seen this, and we're working on it. Because this is a more fundamental issue, it might be done in 2 steps. The first step involves some of the more flashy equipment I mentioned earlier. It will be produced in the new gameplay, not for money, but the boss in the Sasha battle will use it first. For example, he has some kind of equipment, a counter pulse device. Oh, I'm coughing. He has a counter pulse device that directly forces anyone nearby to be repelled within a certain range of the boss, and they can't become invisible or teleport. That's roughly what the equipment does. After we've tested this equipment and it's working correctly, we'll release it to players through the new gameplay so they can enhance their tactics in large-scale battles.
So, anti-cloaking smart bomb is what I'm getting out of that. It's going to have a range around your ship to decloak anyone within that range, and it will stop them from warping off. That could be a little bit too powerful, depending on how big that range is. Quite scary. They're saying that we're going to get it through the Sansha invasions, and I'm assuming it'll only drop from something like the Showdown Ascendant, the Brigadier General. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm 50-50 on that one. It sounds cool, but it also sounds like it could completely ruin a lot of people's games.
I saw a key question. Players are worried that we might go bankrupt. That's
not me. You see, none of our planners were fired this year because we're not going bankrupt yet, right? We
need to maintain a sense of crisis, but while maintaining that sense of crisis, every version is in a state where we could go bankrupt at any time, but we won't. Yes.
It's still the same principle. You design things as if you're going to hell afterward, right? Treat every version as the last version you'll ever make. Do a good job. Have we reached the
kill zone limit? Our kill zone limit. Let's talk about the next topic. Let's talk about the black card one-click switching. We haven't done that yet. Let's go back
to the black card. Regarding the
black card, as you can see, we've created a convenient universal storage system, so you don't need to transport implants, not plant implants, the core components anymore. We also want to do the black card, but the implementation difficulty of the black card itself is much harder than a simple core warehouse. This year, in the first half of the year, after the Lunar New Year, we will quickly push this forward, but I don't know when it will be finished, because it's really quite complex. Think about it, the player's blue, less than control 100 greater than.
Players have so many plant entities on them, and each plant entity has a different black card, and they have to switch between them constantly and everywhere. That's how it is, and we also hope that after the live stream, some players can give us some suggestions.
Okay, so they're kind of looking for a solution to all of us having so many implants and having to swap between them, like, really often. They just feel like the current situation of spending the 50 points to swap it in space, or going into a menu, selecting the item, hitting fit, set active, it's too much, and they're looking to simplify that.
Example, regarding the method you prefer, is it one black card per plant entity? For example, I have a missile component, and I installed it on the first missile plant entity, the second, and the third. Is it quick, using 3 copies, or just 1? Actually, the difference in implementation is huge. Of course, if you say how players actually use it now, 1 copy is definitely enough, but 1 copy is really, really difficult to manage, but if it's 3 copies, it might be a little easier. We're still working on this, and we'll start after the new year. Actually, I've been talking to the colleagues who work on plant entities recently about this. We also play the game ourselves, and I often switch ships because everyone knows I like missiles the most. Sometimes I also fly aircraft carriers, so switching is very difficult for me, so we're also discussing it. We definitely hope to improve the experience in this regard. This 3-card system, anyway, we've already started discussing it. That's what it is. Last year it was just an idea, but this year we're actually discussing it. Okay, next one. Next.
So I guess they're kind of considering allowing us to have 3 implants active at the same time so we don't have to swap as often. That could cause a lot of balance issues. Like if you're gonna combine pulse crystal implant with like multi-frequency, that could get really DPS heavy very quickly. Or for example, you could combine the missile warhead implant with the tactical missile implant, and now you've got high damage missiles with the ability to lock the player in place. But that's kind of the idea that I get from this, is they want us to be able to have 3 implants instead of the 2 that we have right now, which are your main plus the passive implant. So all for it. I want to have that extra power, but that's going to cause some problems.
We were just talking about black cards, right? Yes, we mentioned a simplified client mode at the time, right? But I feel like this might be. At the time, they seemed to say that all models wouldn't be rendered. Scripts. Yes, scripts are minor. I think scripts are probably the last step in developing a system. The first step is to ensure that it's usable for most people. But I think the biggest potential of the simplified mode is that when it's not convenient for me to open such a large client, I can play it, for example, like a WeChat mini program, or share a URL, and I can open it. The first thing that comes to mind is the simulation game 2024. Yes, this is the last step in ensuring security. These 2 things haven't been done yet. At the time, we didn't fully agree that we could consider discussing its feasibility, right? Well, this is mainly because we are currently focusing more on the gameplay itself. Things like monthly sign-ins, sound effects, and 60 FPS. While 60 FPS sounds simple, it actually requires a lot of manpower because optimization and power consumption issues are particularly serious. If we want to do it well, we would need to invest a lot of resources and programmers specifically dedicated to this area, focusing on performance and optimization. But from my personal perspective, if we have these resources, shouldn't we prioritize optimizing the gameplay in things like the Great Rift dungeon runs, making them smoother and less laggy? And
See, I agree with him there. We don't need 60 FPS. The game runs fine, it looks good, there's no need to go to 60 FPS. 60 FPS causes a lot of issues for a lot of games. For example, a lot of speedrunning styled games where people will actually use 60 FPS to be able to engage with a glitch in the game. I don't want that. I don't want any interaction with that. So having our 30 FPS at max, like 24, 25 is average for me. I would rather have that and have them actually upgrade or improve places like the drone lands or dormant realms. That's just a better choice. There's no reason for us to have 60 FPS.
what about the queuing issues? We know there were bugs before where the team leader couldn't enter, or various lag issues. Shouldn't we optimize these problems? So, from my personal point of view, the daily aspects of the game that players experience regularly are more important than things like 60 FPS. Also, there's the API issue, the client-side API. We had a lively discussion about this in the WeChat group yesterday or the day before. I can say that we've never said we would create an API. We discuss this every 6 months or so, but our conclusion has always been that APIs provide a poor experience for most players. Some managers might think they can provide better services and more convenience to their team members through APIs, but we've objectively considered this, and the conclusion is that for most people, once we open it up, it will definitely be used, and even those who don't want to use it will be forced to use it.
Oh, thank you for the 70 stream streak. Good lord.
Even legions that don't want to use it will be forced to use it because of competition.
That is awesome. Thank
So,
you, Snoopy.
it's like Pandora's box. Once you open it, it will definitely be used. Next, the Empire T2 battleship. Someone asked if the text was misspelled. T2 ship, right? T2. Oh, possibly. Many T2 ships were released. Yes, including the Jingwei V, the Quantum Entanglement small carrier later, and that strange pusher class ship. A player.
So he's talking about the Ascendant, I guess, the Navy carriers and the bodyguards were released last year as T2 capital ships.
Asked if the Empire Navy small carrier can be adapted to the old rescue carrier.
Navy small carrier, we'll arrange it for the swimming class later. Okay, this one shouldn't be a big problem.
Oh, another awesome yellow one. Let me check.
We'll talk about the daily missions and integration later. Okay,
Thank you,
the
Snoopy. I
jump
really
drive and
appreciate it.
tactics.
I'm glad you could be here and
Isn't it
enjoying the
already
content.
implemented? He put it in another place. Is it?
Finished?
Not completely finished. At least the jump drive is all done. And the group jump drive, the flagship's group jump drive is too strong. We actually gave relatively few of them. There will be more of the standard ones.
What about the ammunition system? The
Ammunition function is definitely complete. There are also missiles, including ordinary missiles and carrier-borne aircraft missiles.
Okay, so the functionality of ammunition is complete. They've tested it with the bomber fighters, the bomber heavy fighters, the lightweight ships, I think, had one with their bombers. And so that means if they want to add ammunition to all of the weapon types, they can. They've done their testing and it works for them.
And more ammunition. For example, ordinary cannons also have ammunition. This will also be included in some special equipment that we will have in the first half of the year, which consumes ammunition. For example, something similar to a bending shield resistance that veteran players might know, we will also make similar consumables. That is, things that consume this kind of special ammunition, and then it can actively switch its resistance, or actively switch its working mode, including capacitor energy storage devices. All of these are already in the plan and preliminary designs are being made.
I have no idea how any of that will work, other than the resistance profile ammunition. In EVE Online, let me pull it up here. Alright, in EVE Online, we have different ammo types. You saw earlier this year that I went and played around a little bit with EVE Online, showing off the game and what could happen in our game at some point. EVE Online has a lot of different ammo that does different things. So, for example, like EMP ammo is going to give us more EM damage, but less kinetic and explosive. Whereas, if I went nuclear, you now have more more explosive and kinetic, but also better tracking. Let's see if I can find fusion. There you go. Way more explosive, a little bit worse tracking. Here we have more thermal damage, and that's kind of what they're talking about with ammunition changing resistances or damage profiles. It's a very useful system. Think of it similar to the warhead charge implant, where you get to select EM, thermal, kinetic, or explosive damage, but you get to do it on demand instead of having to use your implant for that. I'm interested to see how this would affect like missiles with warhead charge implant, because missiles can choose like thermal and all that in EVE Online. But if we combine that with the warhead charge buff, or the warhead charge buff, say we take a thermal ammunition and we add the thermal warhead charge buff, we're gonna get a lot of extra damage out of that. So we'll see how that goes.
Operation methods, attribute bonuses, where they drop, where they are produced, numerical values, etc. All of these are already in the preliminary design stage.
And these all consume ammunition, and you don't have to worry about paying for ammo with real money. This is not the main consumption of our ammunition. It's based on the most basic minerals, just these two types. In fact, you can see the consumption of ammunition now and you'll know.
Okay, so back to EVE Online. Because apparently there's a lot of comparisons here. So if I go and I want to make EMP ammo, the industry for that is going to be the EMP blueprint with titanium, pyrite, and noxium. You'll get 100 ammo for one blueprint, and that's kind of how our current system works. In our game, if you do like the kinetic bombs on the fighters, or if you want to use it for your bomb launcher, which nobody uses, it would require kind of a similar mineral cost. So, very good. I would rather them keep it cheap and easy to produce, but widely used.
There might be some auxiliary materials that fit its background or sci-fi setting, but the materials are very few, and the vast majority are ST and these most basic things. Yes. This is also to ensure that our recycling is relatively healthy, so that mining doesn't become dirt cheap. The
Wavebreaker core weakening is next. It seems it hasn't been weakened yet. No, it hasn't been weakened, right? The Wavebreaker hasn't been weakened yet. We have a problem. Actually, quite a few people in the chat are interacting about it. I really wanted to say, although it's not on this PPT slide, that the balance is too uniform, and how are we going to change it? Then the issue of the alliances being too unified comes up. First, there's a point we need to address. Is our planning and problem-solving approach influenced by the idea that the alliances are too unified? We want the players to fight against each other. We'll consider why the alliances might become unified, and after unification, who plays well and who doesn't. We need to analyze these issues in detail before we can determine if it's actually a problem. It's possible that the unification of the alliances is a collective choice made by everyone on the server, not necessarily a problem. But it's also possible that it's just a temporary result, and this result could negatively impact all players in the future. This is also a possibility. So, regarding the question of whether the alliances are too unified, we have extensive discussions with many people. These discussions are quite philosophical. We won't directly interfere with the issue of whether the alliances are too unified, but we'll make many subtle design changes to let everyone feel how this situation changes and what would be better. We'll expect more feedback from players, and then we'll know what's better.
So, they're really talking about the blue donut, if you've ever heard of that. The blue donut is when nullsec is completely unified as an alliance, meaning that no wars happen, really. The only fights that happen might be disagreements between neighbors, but overall, they're all part of the same friendly alliance with each other. We got very close to that in EVE Online up until recently. There was a point where almost all of nullsec was aligned with each other. Hello, Midnight, welcome. And it was causing a stalemate in nullsec where no one was fighting that much, no one was doing anything, they were just farming, and it just wasn't exciting. So what the EVE Online devs did is they introduced high-value systems, and they introduced new structures that utilize those high-value systems in order to get players to fight each other in nullsec. Alright, have a good one, Midnight. Thank you for dropping by. And that's kind of the idea of what I'm getting from what the devs are saying here. They don't really care if there is a blue donut, but they don't want it to negatively impact the majority of players in the game. So they're going to do things in-game that could possibly spark, like, conflict and make players want to fight each other for it.
That's about it. And that concludes the discussion about the promises we made last year. We've completed about 50%, and of course, there's a lot we haven't done yet. If we think something is worth doing, we'll put it in the later roadmap. Next, let's talk about the Spring Festival version. Let's take a look. The theme for this year's Spring Festival version is actually not a dragon or a snake, but a Pixio. A Pixio is that mythical creature that devours gold coins. The core concept still continues the design philosophy of the previous Ice and Snow version, which is somewhat like a mini-game of Snake.
It is such a good-looking nanocore. I have really enjoyed looking at this nanocore and the design elements of it. Like, all of this red area on the front half, it will, like, wave out in light. So, it'll, like, start bright here, and then it'll make, like, a wave down the hole, and then disappear into the darkness, and then later on it'll come back through. Watching the snakes, the Pixio, if that's even how you properly pronounce it, watching these things move around the ship and just collecting the coins and then exploding into fireworks is amazing. It's so cool. I have really been enjoying the modern nanocore design that they've implemented. This really started with Starbreak, Star Melody, the other Star one, with the 3D design element, or the holographic design element, and active movement. The first time we ever saw any active movement on a nanocore was with, Neon Rain, where it had a holographic soundbar with some sort of like raining elements coming through the nanocore, and it has only gotten better. The art design team is absolutely one of the best parts of EVE Echoes and EVE Online. The art design team is so good at what they do.
China Unicom. China Unicom? No.
There's no collaboration with China Unicom. We're just saying that any resemblance is purely coincidental. The concept is based on a small, that's a Chinese
Festival, right? Yes. This is also a Chinese festival.
Oh no, Neon Rain
We
isn't
also
working
created
for
a
you?
core concept that resembles a snake from 2012, but it wasn't intentional. But didn't the captain also mention something about the players saying something about the shape? Oh.
Hey, get out
We
of here.
previously had a shape that was removed. Okay, then this core element is actually quite simple. Its basic color is a traditional and dignified black and red, and then some elements of the minigames are added on top. Later, we felt that this design wasn't quite good enough, so we added an external fireworks effect. Click here. Yes, good. Is this a video? Yes.
So right now, I have this effect on my Valraven, where the snakes finish, they all explode, and then later on it shoots out 6 of these little puffs of fireworks. If you get your nanocore to have all of its stats, I believe you get this upgrade. And if all of your stats are the enhanced stat, which is that gold stat, you get the third version of the fireworks. It is really cool. I love this.
Yes, it's not a video. This is a picture. It's a video. Is it a video? Yes. Okay, dot. Is this still a video or the result of a video? Let's bring in the video player. Oh, it really is a video.
Yep, you
Maybe
can
the
see the...
previous ones were also videos. This is the first time I've heard this. Yes, the fireworks
So that's the
have different
upgraded.
levels. As your nanocore level increases, the fireworks effect will have 3
And
levels
then
in total,
the third
including if you
level
don't have it,
is
there
even
are
bigger.
4 levels, and this is the highest level of effect. I don't have the ability to do that until after the new year.
Oh
I
my,
would like him to
that is
sponsor it,
bugged
but it's
indeed.
really not moving. Can't keep up. Let's fast forward and take a look at the next one. A speed challenge. There are only 1,000 of these. I need to quickly get out my phone. This speed challenge only has 1,000 pieces, 1 million reset points. Apple client users remember to redeem it through the official account. You don't need to do anything else. This might be a bug. I asked about the previously customized flags and badges. Is there still anything I need to know? Someone asked this question. No, it's like this. We've had this problem every time before, and we talked about it again yesterday. The sound is too low. Air materials is too cumbersome. To know if there are still things that haven't been sent out, or if there's material that hasn't been collected. Because the process of collecting player materials is too cumbersome. We can't directly find the Legion and tell them, and ask them to upload it, and we feel it's implemented uniformly within the game's gameplay. Okay, the league ends, the awards are mailed with an entry point, about everything that was up most likely due to upload or connection interruptions. This is content from our new version, right? Yes, let's introduce this. This is the content for the Spring Festival version. The content we're releasing in the first week includes task sharing, a new nanocore, and shipbuilding and leasing. The second version is probably already available to everyone now.
Okay. Interesting to note that they want to introduce shipbuilding and leasing as a gameplay feature. Some players are currently kind of doing this as like a Discord agreement, or an in-game agreement where a player will send a ship, and then the player who has the ship is paying that first player every week or so to hold on to it. But it seems like they want to actually have a real ship rental system.
If you have any questions about the content from the first week, you can ask them now, and we can discuss them live. Brother, why aren't you selling skins? Hey, Yellow Brother. Yellow Brother, can he skip ahead and see?
Why aren't you releasing a separate skin store? A core item flying in the main store? Did we release that cat separately last time? Yes, we tried with the cat last time, but we thought our cat skins would sell very well, you know? It's not about how many AUR or PL were sold, but the number of purchases was very, very small. Basically,
We found that players say they really want skins, but they don't buy them. I believe that many players want skins, but we did a data comparison and it seems that players who liked the skins already bought them. But there weren't enough buyers. And they thought it was too expensive. Is that a classic quote from your emoji pack? Yes, don't release so many numerical data items. That's a classic problem. Okay, let's continue. Let's take a look. If there are no problems with the content from the first week, let's look at what we're releasing on February 4th, the second phase of the Spring Festival event.
Okay, so now we're going to go into content that will be coming on February 4th. This will be ship boxes, we know that for sure. But let's see what else they have to say.
This includes nano-core integration and the reopening of the Realm of Life.
did you buy that emoji pack?
I'm assuming they mean the Wayseeker combat test there, not Dormant Realm. I don't know what else they could mean. I really don't know.
That emoji pack is hanging on the
Flagship store, a big one. You mean there's a picture later? Show them. Oh, there's more later, right? Has it arrived? Oh, yes, next is the
Yeah, the new throwing emojis.
video of the emoji. Ha! One thing we can do is there.
I love this, like, rage thing. It's absolutely hilarious.
Another image below.
Just image. Alright, this is really
This is
cool.
a kind of singing idea. That is, back then.
I was discussing with the art director, saying that if the emoji pack can break even,
How much it costs to break even is beside the point. If it breaks even, we'll make this emoji pack with customizable layouts. Currently, we can't just let you upload a picture and turn it into an emoji pack. The main reason is that the review process is too difficult. Is it a boat ride? Yes, but we can consider hanging a bunch of emoji packs on the boat, arranging them there.
So, if the emoji pack sells well, they are looking at making it customizable to your ship. So instead of just having the one on your ship, you can, like, decorate your entire ship with these emojis and have them going all at the same time.
But we made a bet with our art team about this. We don't know if we can actually do this. It mainly depends on the overall reception. I think breaking even isn't the only standard. If everyone uses it a lot, if everyone likes it, then we'll continue. And if we see a lot of interaction, like people activating it and exchanging things, and observing these behaviors, we think it's fun and we'll proceed. But the idea is that you can put your own projected images on the boat, hanging a bunch of lanterns.
I think it looks really
Put
cool.
my
I would
photo
love to
with
see
Xing
this.
Yi on it. Didn't we finish talking about the Spring Festival version plan earlier? We didn't finish yet. There's still the right side that hasn't been discussed yet. Okay, then.
You guys introduce it. The
Right side is the newly released core feature, and that's the left side, not the newly released gun system. Oh, free sharing tasks. This. This is something one of our planners, an older guy, particularly likes, this kind of collaborative gameplay.
Yeah, I really
And we
like the
thought
mission
about it.
sharing. I
It's
just
actually
wish it
quite
was
similar to our original
more
social
open.
features in E, where someone initiates a task, and this task might require more than one person to complete. A guy asked if there's a group here. Are you that little guy in the group? No, I'm the
little guy in the group here. Didn't we chat with the captain in the group for a long time yesterday?
Then keep chatting. Where were we just now? An older guy really likes collaborative gameplay. Yeah, and then I have to initiate a task, and then everyone works on it together. Following this line of thought, the task naturally becomes a relatively good angle to work from. Actually, in the client itself, did I get the right side wrong? Is the Star Fragment Core upgrade manual switching back to the armor set from this version? No, this is one of the big plans from last year that was completed. This doesn't seem to work very well here. The AI is powerful, yes, and the last point is social interaction design, which includes things like emoji packs. We also have the Legion Dewey Com Sci, 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 Legion Dewey Com Sci,
What in the world is happening?
Legion Dewey Com Sci, 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 Legion Dewey Com Sci,
I have no idea what's happening.
Legion Dewey Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Dewey Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Legion Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Dewey Com Sci, Legion Com Sci, Legion Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Dewey Com Sci, Legion. And the origin of this thing is.
Oh, hey, I fixed it.
Talk about that more when the new Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci, Legion Dewey Com Sci later, and we'll talk about that more when the new PPT comes out. Are there any other benefits for this Spring Festival version? There's one. There will be a sign-in event next week. And there's also a cost-effective guide. Oh, and also a one-time shipbox event. Yes, it happens every year. And the origin of this thing is quite funny. The origin of this thing isn't a bug. It's that one year we filled it out incorrectly or something like that, and then we immediately changed it back. And after filling it out incorrectly, it became a benefit. Yes, and then it became an annual event with a year's activity and multiple protocols. Wow, this PPT must have cost a lot, right? Diversification and depth. What's that? Diversification. Next page. Gameplay exploration direction. This seems worth mentioning, right? Yes, we need to switch to the Legion page we mentioned earlier. Which page is it? The golden ones. The golden ones. This one. Yes. This is actually a major highlight in our Spring Festival version, and the discussion surrounding it hasn't been very high yet. We can introduce this gameplay now. This gameplay will be released in the third stage of the Spring Festival version. The overall idea is what we said earlier, that zero-sum battles don't work, and some players find it boring, but I know there's another group of players who don't want to fight because fighting affects production. And some players particularly hate being targeted by scripts. And now, we don't really want to see scripting either, because it's the same idea we shared before. You want to fight, I want to fight, we fight, that's a good thing. But I want to focus on production, and you want to fight, and then I get beaten up, or I beat you up in return. Both of these scenarios mean neither of us were prepared to engage in a large-scale battle, and the experience isn't very good. It becomes a situation where I jump in with a flagship, you jump in with more flagships, and I jump in with even more flagships. This process is exciting, but in the end, if both sides were to rate the experience, the combined score might be negative. One side might have a positive score, and the other a negative one, but I believe the negative score would be dominant. Based on this idea, we've developed another gameplay mode derived from our Legion confrontation matches. Our previous Legion confrontation matches awarded appearance-based rewards for winning a season. This time, we hope that the Legion confrontation will ultimately lead to acquiring sovereignty over a new star system. This sovereignty isn't permanent, it's granted for a specific period.
Okay, so they want people to do Corporation Clash, but in order to get people to actually do Corporation Clash, they're going to start providing sort of like a high-value system that only you will hold on to for the season or whatever that you have won Corporation Clash. If you do not win the next season, you do not keep that region.
During this period, the sovereignty cannot be seized by others. This means that when I win a match, several players just mention that their input method is crashing. I've noted that, yes.
Hey, the input method crashing should be fixed after today's update. After yesterday's update.
Yes, it should be fixed. You can check again. Players experiencing crashes can try updating. This is related to third-party input methods on mobile devices conflicting with some underlying game engine elements. We've fixed it, and theoretically, it should be resolved after this week's update. If it's still not working, you can try downloading the latest package. It should be fixed then. If it's still not...
So I guess thinking about having a dedicated region that you cannot lose sovereignty over, is that gonna work kind of like I don't remember the name of it anymore. The event we just had not that long ago. The PvP event. Or the PvE event. Depending on which side you did. Because if it's a system that you can load into without fear of losing your ships, other than like PvE, then that means industrialists are going to have a really good time if they're with a corporation that has that sovereignty system. And it's going to push a lot more corporations to try to get hold of that system as well.
not fixed, you can send me your game ID through the in-game settings, log upload function, and I'll forward it to the responsible team to pressure them. No need to pressure them, no need to get excited. Our gameplay, this mode, is related to both production and PvP. The production aspect is that if I control this star system, its production efficiency will be slightly higher than our current 1.0 system, or at least comparable. But this isn't the most appealing part, because this sovereignty cannot be visualized, meaning that as long as you're here, you have a relatively strong supply speed, very short. And while you obtain this information sovereignty, we will allow you to transfer a portion of materials over, and then after it's finished, you can transfer a portion of materials out. This is the intended function, and this function is currently being finalized. Okay, that's roughly the introduction.
Think of this kind of like a test for wormholes, in my opinion. It's a system that you can bring things in and out of, like a portion, probably debating on like, or depending on ship tonnage moving through the system, on how much can actually be moved in and out of it, but it's going to be like a wormhole. It'll probably be the test bed for it.
To this content.
I see there are no separate pages discussing the core mechanics later on. Maybe we
Can discuss that now? It seems there are no pages specifically dedicated to core mechanics. Let's see what's next. Let's go through the rest first. Let's get through the rest first, and then after the next prize drawing, there's not much left to say, right? Is there anything to say on this page? I can briefly mention something on this page. This page actually mentions several things that were discussed earlier, one of which is sovereignty. We hope to fight on the front lines, hoping the scale won't be too large, and hoping that well-prepared players fight against other well-prepared players. That's a key point. Another key point is the PvE content. Last year, during our live stream, we told everyone that we wanted to create new PvE content for you to play. Why did we get stuck later on? Because after we finished the raid version, we realized that if you want to create PvE gameplay, everyone would definitely want higher rewards, right? It's okay if it's difficult. I can team up with others, but there must be rewards. However, things with high rewards cannot be infinitely farmed by everyone. This means that the output quantity is relatively limited, and only those with quick reflexes or long online time can get them. This leads to a less than ideal experience. In the new year, we still want to do PvE because I think PvE, as I just said, if you play PvE, I'm happy, and nobody else is unhappy, or others, unhappiness won't be so direct. At most, PvP increases the output and will increase the output of SK, and maybe the in-game currency will increase. This is a longer-term problem, and we still have other methods to adjust it, but I think the output of PvE content is very important. We are planning to release more than one PvE content this year. There might be some for individuals, some for squads, and possibly some larger ones.
Okay, so they're looking at solo content, group content, and probably like Sancha Assault, capital group content. That's good. I would rather them do like solo and group content more this year. Um, and then look at like another kind of assault, Sancha Assault event in the future. Having that like once a year.
Driven methods for the PvE content. Instead, we hope to provide a sense of novelty within the PvE itself. The process of playing the PvE should be fun, not like a chore where you have to play for 2 hours every day to get rewards. Instead, we want to ensure there's enough PvE content, but not an endless amount that requires constant grinding. We want to maintain a reasonable amount of PvE content, ensuring there's always something new to play. Any PvE content that isn't fun or doesn't attract many players will be removed. That's the general idea, but overall, you're asking about good-looking travel skins? Good. New anime-style elements? Yes, that's possible. Our art team is very eager to explore these aspects. What are you looking for? Is your phone here? Another one. It's not important. Let's continue the live stream. Right, and then, let me see if there's anything else. Optimization of the ecosystem of harvesting and counter-harvesting. Question mark. Did I read that correctly? Which one? The third item. Optimization of the harvesting and counter-harvesting mechanism. Actually, why are we bringing up harvesting and counter-harvesting? This was mentioned a lot in the survey. This topic leads to discussions about alt accounts, account farming, and further on to topics like opening blue guilds on the right island, and scripting. These are also topics of discussion. We actually discussed this in the group yesterday. Regarding whether or not to create an API, we are not doing that. But whether to re-evaluate the impact and cost of alt accounts, we will do that. The current conclusion is that we want to better build trust between players and corporations, but it doesn't necessarily mean immediately eliminating all scripts, because scripts can do many things, from client-side manipulation to obtaining permissions, and various other problems. It's not that we don't want to do it, it's that our permission and personnel design, and the entire gameplay of our client, are deeply intertwined, including the transfer of resources. Then, regarding myself, it's normal for me to switch between using my left and right hands. I can't stop you from switching, but if I allow you to switch, there's a possibility of cheating. This is normal. Everything is prepared. So what's the significance of the spirit? Let me answer this question first. We're opening up new gameplay for the main battlefield, but that doesn't mean there won't be opportunities for harvesting and counter-harvesting. This gameplay still exists. It's just that harvesting and counter-harvesting are unpredictable outcomes, but we also need to release some expected content, where players have a fixed time to participate in scheduled group PvP matches. Both types of
Interesting. Scheduled group PvP. I'm guessing they're just referring to Corporation Clash and Faction Warfare.
gameplay need to coexist, allowing players to choose their preferred type. That's the idea. The integrated system is fantastic. Okay, let's continue. On the right side, it's more about, what should I call it? It's not exactly a problem, but the concept on the right is clearer, but I haven't quite figured out how to implement it yet. I really haven't thought it through. We're very good at coming up with concepts. We can easily come up with new and fun ideas, like anti-POW blew up the new gate, which sounds fun. But I don't think we should be too impulsive about implementing it. We'll do it eventually, but we need to refine the idea a bit more before we proceed. Regarding the question of whether large legions will dominate in these scheduled matches, I think, no, they won't. The matches we're planning have a few characteristics. First, it's not about 200 people fighting 200 people to win the match. The number of slots in our matches is relatively small, it's probably 20 or 40. It's 2-0 versus 20. As long as you can assemble a team of 20 people, you can compete in this round of the league. After the league, if you have 20 very strong players, with powerful ships, excellent command skills, and very fast reaction times from the combat pilots, a high-rated team, and they win, then those 20 players' accounts will be locked, and they won't be able to participate in the next round of the league for their legion. So, through several rounds, we can gradually distribute these new galaxies, called glory galaxies.
Eh.
To as many competitive and active players as possible, covering all levels from top to bottom. Someone was looking at information about treatment, looking at what kind of treatment? Someone mentioned, looking at treatment for a puppy's head, you can take a look. Then I also mentioned that I've tried many times with the high frame rate and high definition resource packs. We currently don't have a plan to say, for example, that we must have high frame rate. Achieving a high frame rate under our current circumstances isn't easy because there are so many things to optimize. Actually have over 100 different models, roughly. That's a huge quantity, and for each one, it's not just about optimizing the number of polygons. There might be some bugs in the program. Just like you mentioned, are there any problems with the large ship rendering distance? Actually, we haven't said that there are any problems with the large ship model rendering distance, but it might have problems when you're making a high resolution about the large ship render high frame rate. And also, regarding the private message I saw about the Legion League problem, there were two. Can we still play? Our 20-person and maybe even 5-person. Doesn't that mean 20? You only have 5 edition with 5.
Alright, let's keep going here.
Them too. Play. We watched quite a few matches. It's about comparing tactics and also comparing firepower. Very some in-game mechanics, which aren't very complicated. And there will be scoring points. 2 points and lead. I can
They're
create
very
some
passionate
strategic
about
back and forth
Corporation
during the
League.
match. It's also strictly mature weeks, from the writing team to the programmers and the art team. We've all been pretty sick. Yes, there are 2 shrimp.
Because everyone knows it's more dangerous, it's easy to lose, so.
Actually, how did my PV break? Legion War, we just targeting line pushed to the last public release. My goal is to allow head smaller. My head is smaller. Am I thinner than last year? We talked about it. Not
function, and we won't suddenly increase the drop rate of jump drive components by 10 or 20 times, causing their value to plummet. We won't do that. However, because this item is very powerful, as everyone who has used it knows, jump drive components are especially strong for surprise attacks. We will incorporate them into new gameplay modes as a unique reward. So, if you need them, you can team up with your friends in your Legion to play these Constellation gameplay
Alright,
modes,
let's see if
and
they
they will
have
be available.
anything left for part
It's
3.
not like they are a special draw.
Still another
reply
hour
to me
here.
with a dog's head emoji. Reply with a dog's.
If a piece of land is unoccupied for a long time, the NPC might go and attack it. The game,
Yeah,
Alright,
actually,
generally speaking, based on the current situation, as everyone who's been in the game for a long time knows, there are many areas that are empty. Last year, we did kind of drop a hint about the NGC engineering fleet, attacking half of it, and we did attack it, but not the entire universe, only Leonanu's area. This year, we will most likely optimize this further and promote it to the entire universe. There's no reason why if you bully an angel, they can't secretly attack your base, right? If a piece of land is unoccupied for a long time, the NPC might go and attack it. The gameplay might be similar to the SASA system, but the trigger timing is different. MC, at least based on what we've designed in the documents, will attack areas you've occupied but where there are no players present.
someone spent money just to insult us. You idiots, you talk.
Okay, so they want to implement a Sancha assault system where if like a null sec system or a high sec or low sec system is left alone for long periods of time, the NPCs may invade that area and kind of take it over, and then you'll have like a Sancha assault scenario.
So well, quote, okay, they spend a lot of money on bullet comments. We'll read them all. You don't need. Although these are all things within the game that everyone will encounter. We will all reply. Let's continue translating the chat. Let's take a look. T3 flagship. What is this?
Okay,
This
this is
is
a new nanocore.
one of the appearances of the Nano Fusion star that will definitely be released this year. Damn, wasn't this leaked over 7,000 days ago? Because there wasn't much new content, the art team couldn't resist releasing it. They really couldn't resist. There are some other things, but I held them back.
So, something I just noticed about this image, on the right here, you see it? The Armageddon stuck in its arm. That's funny. And then there's also like a Macarial being grabbed over here. That's pretty cool. I did not actually notice that before, but seeing the Macarial down here being grabbed and the Armageddon being grabbed, that's kind of funny. I like that.
I can't say.
This skin has a very powerful feature, right?
Yes. But we can't tell you. Anyway, it roughly looks like this. You can imagine, is this good looking? The water looks good.
Yes, Kosaru Core. Pirate Kosaru. Kosaru, giving away gifts. Hey, have any of you watched Kosaru? Kosaru is quite interesting. I've
watched quite a few games. It's Kosaru. Let's continue. Next page. The next page is. Oh, it's time for the lucky draw. Let's draw after the lucky draw.
Okay,
Yourself.
lucky draw thing
Can't
again.
draw anymore. How is this private a triple kill? Is this a Q&A session? Shall we start talking about integration? Okay, let's talk about integration. Let me briefly explain how this integration thing came about. I know that most players definitely feel that this is a bit of a scam, right? But the actual situation is like this. Players around me also talk to me, saying, oh, I don't have my items. Less than control 100 greater than there's no longer any profit to be made. And Mr. Zuon also said yesterday, I have 20,000 yuan, and buying a secondary account will give me a higher return than anything else. This actually reflects the problem with secondary accounts, doesn't it? It reflects the fact that our game's numerical values are relatively small. The values aren't very high, and it's relatively easy to max them out, and we weren't very restrained in our previous releases. We just released things normally to ensure a good experience in the short term. So, for new players, those who just registered or haven't played for long, or those with many alt accounts, their nano cores haven't been maxed out yet. But for many players who have played for a long time, or those who play very actively, or those who pay, the nano core quickly loses its appeal. Every time we release a new core, it becomes awkward. I already have a level 6 core, and then I get a new one. I can inherit it and use it, but my old core is just sitting there uselessly. The analysis has been analyzed again and again, hasn't it? Players are kind enough to buy a few, play with each one for a while, and then leave them in the warehouse or dismantle them for parts. I know a guy who has dozens of different nano cores piled up in his warehouse, doing nothing.
Is that you,
I have
Jitter?
some too.
Are you
Yes,
that guy?
everyone does. So, on the one hand, releasing these is for a certain kind of pursuit, and on the other hand, we also think about what functions a new core should have every time we release one, because that's what makes it fun. Each core only has 6 attributes and 1 main mode, so the design space is quite limited. To create a new feeling, a new experience with a core, the design difficulty is very high. In the end, players will say, your core's mode is good, but the stats are too low. If the stats don't inflate, that's also an awkward situation. We also know that cores shouldn't gradually inflate. That's not good. So, creating a system that allows your old stats to continue to be useful is something I think is a good idea.
Yeah, what are you thinking? What's your, suspicion? Yeah. I have a feeling it's gonna allow you to combine multiple nanocores together. But, like we said, there was a Macarial and a Armageddon in its arms. You think it might grab flares? That's funny. That'd be interesting. Maybe of like a smaller tonnage, it might lock them down like in a scramble. Interesting. That would be a very good PvP nanocore.
Do you have anything else to add? Let me briefly explain how the system works. It's not like it destroys your core like some kind of containment system, it won't. You can refer to the modification slot integration. Your core itself is also a collection of modification slots. It's both the core and the integrated slot, and all its gold and attribute development are intact. It won't be eaten away or anything. Then, when it upgrades to different magnetic strip attributes, it will unlock different types of integrated slots, allowing you to place other cores of the same weight class onto it.
Okay.
What?
So instead of our standard upgrade system, they're gonna allow us to upgrade the gold core, and every gold attribute, instead of getting those random stats that you have to level up, you can put in a nanocore of the same tonnage in that slot, and you'll get buffs from that. I would love to have a bunch of thermomagnetic storm cores just stacking together. That could be very stupid. Very funny. We don't know if they'll actually do this, but this is just an idea they have that they want to pursue.
What do I mean by different types? They can be divided into attack type, defense type, speed type, and electronic warfare type. When you plug your core into one of these different types, it will unlock the attributes in your secondary slots that match that type, apply a certain percentage reduction, and then take effect. For example, if you plug it into the electronic warfare slot, it will unlock all the electronic warfare attributes on this core and apply a reduction, say 80% or 70%, multiplied by 0.8 or 0.7, and then take effect directly on that core.
So if you have, say, like a Cyber X core, I think that one has the buffs to Scram strength, and you put it in the E-War slot, you'll reduce those bonuses like to 70 or 80% of that bonus, kind of like 4P80 integration. And then that buff will be applied to your current nanocore, as far as what I'm understanding here. And then if you want to get like a thermomagnetic storm core, throw it in the attack slot. All of your damage bonuses that you're getting are going to buff say, like, your Star Melody nanocore damage buffs, I guess. That's kinda crazy.
The useful attributes of both cores will then be active. And it will also unlock an integrated mode slot. For example, I have a new Sound of the Stars core, and I want to use an oil core. I have an oil core, but I want to use its mode. It's inconvenient to switch, and I'm too lazy to develop it. What can I do? I can level up the new Sound of the Stars core to a certain level, which will unlock an integrated mode slot. Then you can put the oil core in that slot, and you'll have 2 cores. And then some players mentioned that with the new integration system, there will be some loss of cores that were previously parsed. We think this is indeed a problem. Because before this system was implemented, parsing was relatively unprofitable. But if you think about it the other way around, even if we enable
Okay, so, like we were saying earlier, or guessing earlier, you could probably put, like, Star Break into a Star Melody integrated slot. Although this would be on the new nanocore, that's that new nanocore instead of the old ones. You can take those nanocores, put it into the integrated slot, and now you've got the activation mode of the new nanocore and your Star Melody nanocore. That could be very powerful.
integration, the value of the parsed items doesn't actually decrease. It's just that you can now integrate using a different core, and while you have the integrated items, the speed boost is still there. Do you want to explain this? It's already been explained. Yes, it's the same problem. Yes, the effect of the gold core is still there. The results of the celestial moment are out. Gold core and basic attributes are 2 completely different systems, and their values are completely different. Players are concerned about. If the 2 shattered star modes are so strong, won't it be impossible to die? We will definitely do some balancing. Let's zoom in a bit for you. We will set limits. You can't enable both modes at the same time. When one is enabled, you can't enable the other. And when you have 2 identical modes, we will add a shared cooldown in between to prevent you from immediately
They just talked about it there. If you have 2 Star Melody modes, they're gonna have the shared cooldown. So you can't just, like, connect them immediately. Now, is that going to be a reduced cooldown? Like, say, Star Melody normally has, like, a 300-second cooldown. If you have 2 of them, does it go down to, like, 150-second cooldown? And then after that, you can use the second one? If so, that would be kind of crazy.
stacking them and getting double the effect. Hey, what about the crafting system? Is the big boss giving away money? Why isn't this effect flashing? Look, it's not flashing. Oh, right, there are.
No notifications in the live stream. I was wondering why so many players were messaging me saying,
We put the giving away money thing at the back and they didn't see it. It's too
small here, I can't see that much. We mainly look at what messages people are sending, because, you see, you notice he's ranked first, but you
can't really see the gift. That after I've integrated, I find that mine isn't strong, and other players' builds are stronger than mine. What should I do? You can disassemble it, that's allowed. If you're not satisfied with your integration, you can disassemble it and choose a different one that you're satisfied with. Regarding
Okay, so you can kind of
players'
choose
concerns
different
about numerical balance,
nanocores.
we will be relatively conservative in this external release. In addition to the integration mode, we may only allow activation of the electronic warfare and defense attributes. After observing player data, we will make some balance adjustments and subsequent external release plans, such as whether to open up offensive types or more electronic warfare options. Some players are asking if different types of ships, different tonnages, and different factions can be integrated. Well, you must have the same tonnage, meaning you must put strategic cores in strategic slots, but you can use different models. For example, I played with the Mark R before, and later I played with the Bagras. Can I put the Mark R core on the Bagras? Yes, you can. However, we encourage players to use the same model and series. For example, if I put 6 of those female-shaped cores, or 6 of those cat-shaped cores, we will give you some extra bonuses, similar to those linked attribute bonuses. Okay.
So
And some
stacking
players
can
also
provide a
mentioned the
bonus.
issue of core integration and core trading. 6 is just an example I gave. It's not necessarily 6. Yes, some players also mentioned core trading. Actually, I personally hope that cores could be integrated, but there is still some pressure on this. What problems would core integration and trading cause? First, there are some minor problems with the output of cores right now. For example, our first generation cores can have 6 of them, 6 hits. Which second generation core are you playing with? 6 of them? Which second generation core are you playing with? Which second generation core? Question mark. Let's see which dynasty you're from. In reality, it should be less than 6, right? Yes. And do we need something like the integrated modification system, such as 3 items, 4 items, 5 times, 6 times, etc.? No, no, no. It's just one. Just one. It won't be like consuming 7 to make one. No, no, no.
This is also a question from a player, asking if it will be like the integrated modification system, where 4 are needed to make one. This guy is a bit of an M.
No, he's not an M. He's the director, the scriptwriter. Yes, I want to create a special lure that makes it more likely for enemies to target me. Why can't players upgrade combat cores? This is planned to be released later. Mainly, after the first launch of this new numerical growth depth, we will be more conservative to prevent situations that we cannot control. Actually, you don't need to worry too much. We are actually quite conservative in our numerical adjustments. We won't be too aggressive or inflate things too much. And there's a player who I think has a valid point. Isn't opening integrated servers very unfriendly to new players? The biggest problem for new players in our game is that everyone starts from scratch, and it's very difficult to catch up. The longer our game has been running, the harder it is for new players to catch up. So the only way to solve the new player problem is to let new players grow faster. This is done through a new gameplay mechanic, a kind of instant level up gift package, which is already in place. It allows them to play more easily in the early stages, gain skill points, quickly develop their characters, and acquire ships that are eligible for monthly cards. This is also part of our plan, to allow new players to quickly develop their technology levels, ships, and nanocores. Of course, the last issue is still there. We still need to prevent people from using this to create low-cost script accounts or alt accounts. This also needs to be addressed, but we haven't completely figured out how to do that yet. Different branches can purchase skills.
Alright, I don't really see anything else new
Regarding
here.
the happy server, for New Year's, our current attitude is that opening a happy server isn't a very good choice. Removing the restrictions would only negatively impact. But what if I create it and the attributes are bad, and I want better ones? Is there a way to re-roll the attributes? That's possible, but the depth won't be very deep, because everyone knows that our equipment is actually more of a consumable item. We're not going to spend hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars just to get a piece of equipment with a level 14i attribute. That's not how it works. The main point is that we're reinforcing the core concept, making these expensive level 12 and 14i equipment pieces have attributes that are more balanced in value. At the same time, we're also increasing the gameplay options in our B system, making equipment matching more interesting. Will the core protocol be re-released? As I
Said just now, yes, it will. The hot word, blacklight, is the same meaning.
What does SC mean? Right, what does S mean? Old Niu really wants to support it, but what we've done is really trash. We can only give it an SCSC. You spend 100 yuan to say something. Should be the manual. That's right, the manual is also a brother, okay? It's also. It was the manual at the time. carrier-based aircraft now. That's another draw. Are we doing a big prize? 5 big... Strange more. If we think uselessness, yes, these kinds of concentrated discussions do happen. People continue to use it after trying it out. This year, actually last year, including the middle and latter half of the year, we made several direct improvements to its combat performance, especially its health, whether it was for logistics, cruisers, or destroyers. This year, we will also have a larger scope and cover more ships than last year. We will directly improve it through various methods, including but not limited to new equipment and advanced modifications. The 4 empires also have advanced modifications, such as the Amar frigate core system enhancement, etc., all of which will be released this year. Besides these equipment changes, we will also directly adjust attributes, like increasing its health by 20%.
Alright, so that just mentioned, our current faction core systems, like for the Rattlesnake core, it'll give you a small bonus. It's like a separate piece of equipment, a rig. And they just said they want to do that, but for the standard ships as well. Interesting.
To improve its combat capabilities so that it can fight alongside flagship ships. Of course, this doesn't mean that we're necessarily nerfing the flagship to allow other ships to compete. That's not the intention. We know that the small cruiser's combat power is a bit weak right now, and too concentrated. He's actually also in our reinforcement plan. It's for regular small ships. As you know, our game has been around for many years, and it's still a single server system. Players' firepower has increased countless times, and their money-making ability and earning potential per unit of time have also increased countless times. Firepower is countless times higher, but defense hasn't kept up. So this year, we'll be buffing these weaker ships that are easily destroyed through various methods.
Okay. So, defense buffs
Once these
for
are buffed and we think
certain
they're
ships.
okay, or at least much better than their current performance, then we'll definitely release new large functional carriers and even some special spherical interceptor carriers with lightweight designs.
Interesting. So they want, like, AoE carriers? I wonder how that's gonna work. Or like an AoE fighter. So it's just gonna be a bunch of marshals that spawn and have, Storm Melody. They just pop a bubble and everything around them dies. That could be really bad. But funny. I look forward to see what they do with that.
The functions are actually very simple. They haven't been released yet because we have internal combat simulation testing. We think they're too powerful. It's not that players are saying they're too strong. We tested them and found them to be too strong. We can't give them to players. If we did, then the only players left would be those with large carriers and battleships, and all the other strategic ships, cruisers, frigates, and destroyers would be useless. We want to provide a slightly fairer environment where everyone can still play together. That's why I learned something new. A player said Street is the bullet screen itself, which is Super Chat. Oh, SC, okay. Thank you to the players who sent Super Chats and regular bullet comments today. There's a question about our core and fun as the challenges got harder, but later on, it's hard to avoid getting tired of a PvE mode, and then you just want to clear it as quickly as possible, right? But playing too much like that actually leads to fatigue and makes it less enjoyable. Games are meant to be played, not for endlessly farming money outside of the 500 unit limit just for the sake of accumulating wealth. We should design a button that instantly gives SK currency. A player suggested that our next core mode should be a button that directly gives money.
We will design ways
Yes.
to spend money, not ways to give money away. Then this chosen one thing comes up again.
Spending money is actually a good thing. Many players think that spending money, I'm talking about SK, is bad, but it's not. It's about the balance between SK production and SK consumption. When these two are balanced, the price of the currency will be relatively stable. That's the general idea. We actually do a lot of things. Sometimes we increase SK output, Sometimes we reduce SK output by increasing its consumption. The purpose of both is the same. I saw a player named Xiao Bojiayu say, "I've asked 20 times, when will the unified command come out?" I saw many others ask the same.
Ooh.
Say, "I've
Here we
asked
go.
20 times, when will the
When will the Concord Dreadnought release? That was a question that was directly asked to them.
unified command come out?" I saw many others ask the same thing. The technology of the Allied command is too strong. They don't really need a 5-star unit right now, they really don't. But if a major unit comes out later, or let's say a Titan unit comes out, and we need a powerful unified command 5-star unit to counter it, then it might be released.
Ah, no Concord Dread until Titans. Rip.
Right now, the unified command's marshals are strong enough to handle most situations. There was also more than one player who mentioned whether there are any plans for the Starbase gameplay. Actually, I have to admit that we've been thinking about a lot of things lately. We will revisit the Starbase issue and discuss whether we need to re-evaluate it. The main situation with Starbase is that, while it's popular, there isn't much feedback, or rather, there isn't much data indicating any abnormalities that need to be addressed. Less than Control 100 greater than, but you said that nobody plays with it, but actually, there are always people playing in the Zinba area. Sometimes, at certain times, some people even control the game. These situations all happen. Then, just at that time, there was a player who said something about giving the main base to a player. Zinba was originally able to adjust the structure, but later it was removed. The market hasn't been removed yet. Players will actually notice that there is a main base structure in the market. The entire main base ship can actually be open to players, and the functions are all okay. It's just that we didn't design any features for it, so it's boring. If you open it, it's just an empty ship shape, which is meaningless. In our game, the core and the heart can both be opened. Very big. The core and the heart. Oh, very good. Then, we will first continue to improve this ship line, including the advanced modifications and special enhancements of various cities and empires, and only after perfecting them will we open a new line. Otherwise, if you haven't even finished the smoke effects, and it's not interesting enough, and you don't even have the objects yet, and you dig a new hole, wouldn't that be endlessly making half-baked pancakes? It's all half-baked and not delicious, right? So we will definitely prioritize getting the smoke effects and plant entities done this year, including more characteristic smoke technology equipment. Actually, everyone can see that we completely popularized the smoke jump last year in the second half of the year.
Yeah, Sun
The
Chaser.
smoke itself has some bonuses, and others can relatively easily obtain the smoke ability. We will also continue to add this smoke jump ability, so that players can more easily obtain this skill, because I personally find it quite useful. But it might be limited in some aspects, and it's better to have this jump bonus. Whether we will release more jump bonuses in the future is another matter. Because this is really strong, and quite good. Some players asked if it is necessary to publish the banned list. To be honest, there's
Not much point in publicly releasing the ban list. Our
League has a preliminary round for improvement. Is Lao Lu still playing in Jinghai? He should still be playing in the game. In Haiwang. In Hai. Dominating everything. I've seen many players asking about this. We've discussed this several times already.
We can't just step in and say, we're going to disband Dongnian, because they're dominating everything. That's impossible for us. Yes.
And this is at the player level, the gameplay itself. The main core gameplay of the game. For example, I recently saw some posts from players saying that they want to leave, whether it's Dongnian or whatever, and that they want to play on their own. This is between the players themselves. So what can we do? Well, anti-cheating will definitely be an ongoing theme. We will survive in Liunan. That's our theme this year. We will still try our best to provide small and medium-sized groups with more ways to survive, earn money, and build ships more easily. But we won't directly force the disbandment of overseas factions like Aya, or force private conversations with the person in charge of Dongnian, telling them they must disband or something like that. Our main theme, and we want to emphasize that again.
Alright.
Last year, around
So that
February,
pretty much covers the entire AMA here. Or at least the dev diaries that came around. So, I think there's a lot that we're gonna have coming up this year. Whether they complete all of it is well beyond our comprehension. They only did about half of what they said they would do last year. So they will probably only reach the same amount this year. Unless they're really, really intent on completing all these things and they have the funding to do so. There's a lot I can see they want to do, and they specifically really want to focus on PvE this year. So hopefully that means a lot of cool stuff for us. Unfortunately, Concord Dreadnought not coming. Not for a long time. But we do have Tech 3 battleships to look forward to. It seems they are ready for that. So I'm interested. The most recent thing that we're gonna have is the ship boxes on the 4th. So be prepared for that. A lot of people will be flying brand new and expensive ships. So get ready, and if you're looking to spend money, that'll probably be a good time to do so. So take care, everybody, and I will see you in an hour for the Dev AMA. Take care, and be safe.